Hello everyone and welcome to the Random Championship Series Gold and Under ARAM tournament for today, Thursday, February the 19th. My name is Streeple and I'll be your caster for tonight, and the two teams we have playing for you in the first game of Night Up with the Action, we have Phallic Justice version 2 on the blue side, and the Meme Lords on the purple side, so a couple ridiculously named teams here. But some reasonably kind of familiar faces we see here, as I believe a few of these guys have played in our tournaments before. I think Son of POD there, or POB rather, is a very familiar name to me, and I think Filthy Casual. Maybe that's just familiar in general. Who knows? There might be a couple new teams actually. I've seen so many games recently. Watching EULCS today, my mind has gone blank now. But we have a nice little AD carry there, on the only AD carry of the game there for Phallic Justice version 2 on the blue side. Which really, that's kind of the first thing you look for nowadays, especially since there's no real kind of like OP supports. Usually those are the first things I look for in ARAMs is, did anybody get like a Sona or Soraka, and who has the AD carries basically. So it looks like a little bit of a decent balance in the side for Phallic Justice on the blue side, but they got some good kind of pick potential for the Meme Lords there. They have a couple of assassins, or I guess 3 assassins, like you should say, in Kha'Zix, Kassadin, and Katarina there. I believe Kassadin and Katarina are both going to be nerfed in the next patch there, which Katarina is doesn't need to be nerfed that badly. She's all right now. You can kind of shut her down there with some hard CC and things like that. But Kassadin, I definitely feel like is pretty darn strong. It can use a few tweaks, things like that. But their team is reasonably well-rounded, except for the fact that they don't have much wave clear, which, to be honest, in an ARAM map is one of the most important things you can have. In general in the game, it's just good to have wave clear on your team, but specifically in ARAM, it's going to be really important, and I feel like that's where kind of Kate's going to come into this matchup, because I don't feel like Katarina, Kha'Zix, and Kassadin, the 3 assassins, the 3 Ks there, oh, well, I was going to say KKK, but that's let's stray away from that. The 3 assassins there on the purple side, on the Meme Lords, are going to really have to kind of wait until level 6 or so, until they can jump in a little bit more safely. Kha'Zix will, of course, have that invisibility. Kassadin, of course, have his Rift Walk, and then the Shun Po, not the Shun Po, excuse me, the ultimate coming out from Katarina there. And it's going to be really strong on a small map like Howling Abyss like this. But that's the same thing can kind of be said there for Son of POB, who is going to be rocking the Talon in this game. A little bit, like I mentioned before, a more well-rounded team comp than the Meme Lords for Phallic Justice version 2. They have an AD carry, they have a support, an assassin. Like, they have an actual team comp pretty much. You could throw if this was a real match, you could throw Shyvana in top, a Mumu jungle, of course, Caitlyn and Thresh in the bot lane, and then Talon in mid, and that would be a well-rounded team there. You've got an AP jungler to kind of manage the fact that you have an AD mid laner and then a mixed damage top laner in Shyvana, so they have a decent little setup on the blue side so far. So look to see Caitlyn kind of bully early lane and set the pace for this game. But with the Blitzcrank and Leona for the side of Meme Lords, they could get an early jump and allow these assassins to start snowballing the game here early. You never know. It's really going to be up to kind of... I'm really going to look to Caitlyn to outpoke for the side of Phallic Justice on the blue side early, and I'm going to look for Lord Panda Cake to make some pulls early, because it's really going to depend on, I feel like those two are going to control the early game for either team. If they can get some early pulls, then they might be able to pull themselves ahead, the Meme Lords that is, but if Caitlyn is going to be doing some early poke and just shoving waves and stuff with their Piltover Peacemaker, Talon can of course shove waves reasonably well too with his little rake, although it does cost a fair amount of mana to use, but we'll see how they kind of play the early game getting into it. But, like I said before, unless they do land some sort of early picks or get some sort of really nice early engage there from Leona or somebody, they're probably going to have to wait a little while to engage for the side of Meme Lords as they scale up to level 6 or so. But it's not going to be too hard to hit that, as you do start at level 3, of course, on Howling Abyss in the ARAM map. But as we're getting into the loading screen, I want to remind you all that we are the Random Championship Series, the RCS. Our website is randomcs.com. Please head there and you can visit our About the RCS tab there. And we have all of our staff members. You can see our Facebooks, our Twitters, our Twitches, our YouTubes, all that kind of stuff, our emails. If you want to get into contact with us or just check us out, any kind of that stuff like that, go to the About the RCS tab at randomcs.com. You can also click our upcoming events tab and you can see, of course, our upcoming events, all of our upcoming tournaments and giveaways and things like that to make sure you're not missing any of those. So head over to randomcs.com and check out all the information over there. You can also head over to our Facebook page, which is ari.cs, ari like the champion.cs, facebook.com/ari.cs. We also have a Twitter, which is at esportsrcs, so head over to twitter.com/esportsrcs and give us a follow and like and all that kind of good stuff. And we actually have a new little kind of link there to our Twitch page, so if you're tired of typing twitch.tv/randomchampionship series, which is a bit long, Oh no, my League of Legends has just crashed. There we go. Let me reconnect back into the game here. But if you're looking to to head over to our Twitch and you don't want to type in the full twitch.tv/random championship series, you can go to randomcs.com/live, Live, randomcs.com/live, and it will take you right to our Twitch page. So a little bit easier of a link for everybody there, randomcs.com/live. And yay, I'm back into the game there. Everybody's level 3, and we're all going to be buying items and stuff here in the near future. There we go. People are moving. Things are taking action here, and we see some Doran's Blades coming out as well as some Doran's Shields for the side of Phallic Justice. And now, as I mentioned in every ARAM tournament, and the same thing can be said for the 1v1 tournament. We had Valentine's Day 1v1 tournament that I took part in before, and my strategy for every single game is buy items as fast as possible and just rush the first bush. Even if you don't get say kill or damage or a flash or any sort of summoner spell, you still take control of the map and control of the early game. Specifically, if you have some early poke and stuff like Caitlyn. I played Caitlyn in every single game in the 1v1 tournament, just because she's brutal. In a small map like this, it's basically just a giant lane, and Caitlyn is probably one of, if not the best AD carries in lane, in that her auto attack range is just ridiculously long from early level. She has good wave clear with her Q, she can escape with her E, and she can just lay down traps all over the lane with her W as well. She's going to be really strong, and that's what I was mentioning before in Champ Select. I'm looking for Food Breaker to kind of set the pace for Phallic Justice version 2, the blue side, in this early game. And I was mentioning before, it's going to be up to probably Blitzcrank, Lord Panda Cake here. I like that name. Lord Panda Cake as greediest mid NA, dancing around there on top of Blitzcrank. But I'm going to be looking to Lord Panda Cake on Blitzcrank to try and make some pulls early to get his team in this, because they're going to have trouble doing all the wave that they can. As you can see already, Phallic Justice is shoving the wave out. They only got 1 minion killed before they shoved the wave to turret. So as you can see, the blue side is going to be shoving things out here very early. Look for Blitzcrank to try and make something happen. But what did he start with? He started with a tier, so that's good. So he will be able to just spam his hook, because Blitzcrank, mixing up words here, Blitzcrank's mana costs are extremely high, so he runs out of mana very quickly. So having a tier is going to be good for him. He won't be able to stack it up that quickly, because of course, like I mentioned, high mana cost, and he'll be using most of his mana on this Q there, his pull. So we'll be able to stack it up that fast, but a lot of it is mostly just for the actual mana regen. And of course, Blitzcrank's passive too, the shield he gets, depends on how much mana he has. So if the more mana he has, the more that passive shield is going to do, which is deceptively strong, basically. It's really good for baiting people in and things like that. So I like that early tier pickup, and Kassadin going to be stacking his tier as well. Katarina actually opting for the Seeker's arm guard, so she's going to be looking to build an early Zhonya's, and I think she kind of just wanted that to not get hurt too badly from the Kate poke. Also, Talon's going to be doing a fair amount of damage, but there's the hook actually landing on a Katarina. That's going to be first blood. The pull lands onto a minion, unfortunately, and it's actually the reverse of what I was talking about, where the Thresh there, Nick244, yeah, whatever, I'm going to skip the last numbers in his name, let's call him just Nick. Nick there on Thresh lands a hook, like I was saying, look for Lord Panda Cake to try and land the pull to get something going for his team early, but it's Nick who lands the first hook there, a Thresh hook instead of a Blitzcrank pull. And they get the first blood on Katarina, whose defensive start with the Seeker's arm guard didn't even save her right there. She didn't get the flash away, but there's the hook. That's what we were looking for. The flash, the heal as well, used her Food Breaker, keeping himself alive, and actually Steiner really might go down for this trade. Just barely staying alive there. There's the heal coming up from Kassadin. Filthy Casual saving his buddy right there, but now Lord Panda Cake is a little bit out of position, getting some trade damage. Pops his W to get away. There's the rake from Talon to CS some more. And that was a little bit of a hectic early trade. The hook almost landing. Greediest mid NA is still level 3. I think the only level 3 person still in the game, yes, as he is the only one who has died so far, so he was spending some time back at base. Just hits level 4 right there. And he's actually right out on the front line trying to get some CS, and as I mentioned before, because of all the assassins on the side of Meme Lords, they don't have much reliable wave clear. It's pretty much just a bunch of assassins and a couple supports, and that's not the best composition for early in this game right now. But they're doing a good job of not losing the game too hard, which is exactly what they need to do. Just stall, just delay the game as much as possible, just try not to die too much, try not to give too much up until you hit level 6 and you can try and make some sort of a play happen. Because right now they're just relying, like I said before, on the hooks, but there's a hook on a greediest mid NA again, and that is the second kill of the game. Another Thresh hook, but there, exactly the same thing happens. Cooper gets hooked again, but a nice oh my god, I was gonna say a nice play, and then I said a nice hook, but no, it's a nice lantern. Thresh's lantern there, saving his Caitlyn. Great plays from Nick so far. So far in the game, MVP goes to Nick, definitely landing hooks and saving the people that are getting pulled by Blitzcrank. And actually lands a hook on his counterpart, Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank forced to flash away, so no flash hook's going to be happening for the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And great job by Caitlyn. Goes forward, grabs the little health relic, and then ease away to make sure she doesn't get pulled. Cheeky little play. And unfortunately, Filthy Casual, he's seeing here, but on ARAM maps, we do not have any pauses. It's just straight up free-for-all. Whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of the part of the fun of the ARAM tournament. That's just straight up random. The hook actually lands max range on Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix forced to flash away. There's the engage, but no hook landing. There was no follow-up from Meme Lords, and they are forced to just chill into their turret for right now. But the one good thing is their turret is not losing too much health currently. But they are kind of farming Katarina right now. As you can see, Katarina has by far the most CS on her team, but she's also dying to get this CS. She's being up in the front line, and she's really kind of living up to her name right now as greediest mid-NA. She's dying for CS each time. There's the pull onto Shaco Elo, and he's going to go down. The first death of the game for Phallic Justice. The Pillar of Peacemaker almost taking down Steiner Billy, but a little bit of HP left. Full rage the bar there for Shyvana. She's going to have her ultimate up as they are hitting level 6 here. Meme Lord's just getting level 6 there. Kha'Zix Leona first to hit it. Blitzcrank 6 as well, and now that they are level 6 or getting close to there, they should be able to start making a few more things happen and trying to go for an all-in actual team fight at this point. Once you hit level 6, you start getting more into team fights, whereas before that, it's straight up kind of just a 5v5 lane phase, really, where now it's kind of a 5v5 lane phase with team fights. Hook barely missing there onto SSW Ching Chong, who I believe is with SSW, I'm assuming stands for Samsung White. Yeah, anyways, I'm assuming that's what it is. Who knows? Maybe it stands for Soapy Seals White. I don't know. I'm losing my mind right now. Anyways, 3 Doran start for Caitlyn, which, as I was mentioning before, I played Caitlyn in every single game in the 1v1 tournament, and that's what I started every single time, is that triple Dorans. You have enough money exactly for the start for 3 Dorans and 1 health pot, and really you don't need any more pots if you just use collecting the relics. You're good to go, and those 3 Dorans give you 9% lifesteal, so you're sitting pretty. Also a bunch of HP and some good attack damage. It's pretty much the most kind of cost effective. It's like if I want the most amount of stats right now for my money, just stack Dorans. It's not a very good investment item because they aren't going to be able to build those into anything, but if you want just damage right now, you want damage, health, lifesteal, everything you can right this very second, those 3 Dorans are the way to go. Shaco Elo actually going to be taking a turret shot as he invades in, or jumps in rather. Flashes away, doesn't pop his ultimate though, so now you have a low health Amumu that hasn't popped his ultimate, so he's going to try and get in the middle of everybody and pop his ult, but he's got no way to jump in other than his bandage toss, so he's really going to have to wait for a mistake coming from Meme Lords, really, them get out of position and have them all stacked up on top of each other, get a bandage toss on some important target, and then pop the ultimate from there. Amumu also actually has Exhaust, which makes sense because they do have 3 assassins on the enemy team, so having a bunch of exhausts is going to be really good, but I probably would have liked to see Mumu take something else. To be honest, I feel like 3 exhausts is a little bit overkill, but like I mentioned before, 3 assassins, so 3 exhausts, 1 per assassin. Hey, who am I to judge? And Amumu using the bush right there for a camp, and actually casting and using a defensive Rift Walk right there, which is probably the right thing to do at this moment because he doesn't really want to invade. Or not invade, I keep saying invade, engage rather. They really need Steiner Billy on Leona to be the main engage for their team, as she is really the only real tank on their team. Of course, Blitzcrank opting to start with that tier really makes him kind of just a mage, really kind of just a pull mage, as opposed to Leona, who started with that relic shield, and she's going to have a little bit more tankiness as she does go in and try and get a solar flare EQ engage, and she has the ignite, which is what I was talking about before. When I was saying I feel like we should take something else, the ignite might have been a good idea. Having they don't really have any heals other than, of course, Kha'Zix might be able to heal from his missiles a bit, but you don't really need an ignite, but having that extra little bit of damage is helpful, and you already have so many exhausts in your team, even like a barrier or something, to be honest, on Amumu, then you can just go in there and go crazy and get some really ridiculous ults off, just stand in the enemy team for a super long time, because I feel like all you need to do to beat an assassin team is just not die initially. Just don't die to their initial burst, don't give Cat and Kha'Zix the resets, and you guys will be good to go. Just be as tanky as possible, basically. And you see there Amumu opting to get the Abyssal Scepter as soon as possible, which is probably a good idea because the only attack damage coming out. There's the hook, actually lands onto Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix like down, jumps away. There's the Leona ultimate onto the breaker. It's demolished right there. Ultimate from Amumu coming in, but the previous mid-NA goes down as well. Steiner really running for his life, and Shaco Elo tanks a turret shot, getting jumped up by Cassidy. A great hook by Nick again. These hooks have been absurd this entire game long. Thresh playing out of his mind right now, 1-0-4, 100% kill participation, and they are going to take that team fight 3-1, trading Foodbreaker's life for it, but it's actually not that bad of a trade because now Foodbreaker goes back to buy, and he has a ridiculous amount of CS, 50 CS to go back to buy, so he gets himself some Circuit Greaves, a pickaxe, and a BF sword on top of that, so he'll have a ton of damage and a ton of safety as well with those boots to try and dodge those hooks coming from Blitzcrank and things like that. So really good job there. Caught out of a little position, and that cut out a bit of position in that team fight was Foodbreaker before, as we saw, but his team was able to turn it around on top, and his team is quite strong right now, and everybody, I believe, has been able to go back and buy except for Thresh and Talon so far, so they have at least 3 members of their team that are pretty strong, where there actually are 2 members for the side of Nemo that have not yet gone back to buy because they have not died, of course, which is Kha'Zix and Kassadin. So they're actually reasonably even though the fact that they usually the team that's losing, the team that has less kills, the team that's been killed more, will have better items because they've been able to go back and buy more frequently. But right now they're really not that far ahead. But there's the engage from Leona. I was talking about Foodbreaker out of position again, but he's going to kite back there with the big engage, and there's the hook actually underneath the turret. Lord Panda Cake flashes away. Oh, just barely misses the hook. Very nice try though, but that's going to be a 0 for 0 right there. Kassadin trying to trade aggressively. There's the engage from Leona again, but she is caught up a little bit far. Filthy Casual jumps in, and he would go down for his troubles. Rift blocks in, so he can't rift block out like he's been doing. Katarina Shunbo's away, and there's the ace in the hole. No one blocks it. Bit, and A goes down. Really, there's the hook actually from Panda Cake, and down goes Shyvana for the first death of her of the game, but Foodbreaker's going to pick up a double kill. Hook just barely missing, and Son of POV is trying to just tank this with his team to kill it, but he might get executed, and no, just barely stays alive. There's the turret, and he picks up the execute actually, which is going to be really good because that is the first death of the game for Talon, and he doesn't give any gold over to the enemy team. It basically goes 1-0-6 pretty much. That's considered a 0 death because the enemy team did not take any part of that. They have no kill, or no gold reward rather, from Talon's death. And Talon might be going for a Trinity Force here, which is crazy. I don't even know if I've ever seen a Talon Trinity Force before. I don't know if, is that good? I don't know, don't ask me. He's got Lucidity Boots as well, so a really weird build for Talon here, but hey, he's been doing pretty well so far for himself. Probably wants to get those rakes off as fast as possible, or the, yeah, I guess they are called rakes if I remember correctly. But having his ultimate on cooldown, or off cooldown as fast as possible is going to be really good for him too, especially on such a small map. On Summoner's Rift you can get away with a bit of a longer cooldown, but on such a small map you really need that invisibility from Talon. And plus the ultimate does a fair amount of damage as well if you get everybody grouped up. So we'll see if with their newfound items, the only one who hasn't bought now for the side of Phallic Justice is that Thresh. We'll see if they're able to make a play. If you have one person that you don't need to buy, it is going to be that Thresh because he can just use his hooks and stuff all day long. That's his main kind of contribution to the team. There's a Blade of the Rune King actually finished for Shyvana, and not only a Blade of the Rune King, but there's going to be a Spectre's Cowl on top of that. And Spectre's Cowl was actually buffed in the most recent patch. I believe they increased the health regeneration from it, which is going to be really strong on a map like this, where you're kind of just basing a lot of your gameplay on sustain. If you get chunked out, you can't go back to the fountain and regen, you just have to sustain in lane. So having that extra health regen from the Spectre's Cowl is going to be really strong for this. As I mentioned before as well, the amount of AP on the side of Meme Lords is pretty high there, so having some sort of magic resistance on your kind of front line in Shyvana is going to be really strong. And actually, there we go, a jump on a Filthy Casual, and he goes down immediately, doesn't even get the chance to ult away. Rod of Ages Kassadin is building up slowly. He's gone full investment Kassadin build with the tier to try and stack up, and he's a stack of the Rod as well. There's the ultimate from Shyvana, and she's underneath the turret right now alone. Lantern goes down, but it's kind of a deep land. You want to figure out where Shyvana's running to. Ultimate from Amumu. It's 2 people, and it'll be enough to take down Steiner Billy. There's the hook on Caitlyn underneath the turret. Caitlyn's going to go down. Oh no, the exhaust going on previous mid-NA. They're able to turn this right now. Ching Chong is going to pick up a kill there onto Shyvana and barely get away. A trap onto previous mid-NA. There's the engage. The bandage tuck followed up by a hook. The chain CC and Shaco Elo is going to just take one turret shot and get out safely. Great chain CC coming from Phallic Justice to take that fight. Oh, and a double kill. Son of POB coming into the back line right there. Gonna pick up himself up a kill. And the ace in the hole onto Blitzcrank. No passive left. Filthy Casual decides not to block for his buddy Blitzcrank right there. Just gonna let him die. Lord Panda Cake gonna be able to go and buy. But unfortunately right now, he actually looks like he's going AP here. They are picking up, he did pick up a Merc Tread, but AP Blitzcrank is not what I like to see right now. They need some sort of a front line, I feel. AP Blitzcrank is not going to be that for them, but they are going to pick up a kill. It's going to be the first death of the game for Nick. And actually, Caitlyn is going to go down here. Second death of the game. Foodbreaker, triple kill there, going on to Caitlyn. But that is only her first 3 kills of the game here, coming at 14 minutes. Everybody else sitting at 1 kill apiece for the Meme Lords. And they don't think they can actually make much happen right now. All they can do is kind of push out. Shaco Elo just camping in the bush right there. Let's see if he can get behind for an execute. He should be able to. There he is. There he goes. Touchdown for Shaco. He's going to go rip. The minions are going to kind of tank up. He's going to get some CS too before dying. What a cheeky little Shaco, or I keep calling him Shaco there because of his name, but a cheeky little Amumu right there. Kind of proxy farming and getting the self-execute off to make sure that the enemy team cannot get into turret. Make sure they don't get any gold from his death either. Really nice play there by Shaco Elo. Now they need to be careful though, because they have about 12 seconds now where they don't have their Amumu on the map, so they don't want to fight right now. They just want to kind of relax until he does get back on the map. They have a lot of items, including the locket. Be careful right now. Shyvana getting bopped up by the Blitzcrank, which is careful. Hooked by, or the Lantern rather. But like I was saying, they have a locket of the Iron Solari now, which is going to be super strong against that Katarina as well as that Kassadin. And to be honest, even the Blitzcrank now, because that Blitzcrank is AP pretty much. The only real tank on their team is that Leona. Blitzcrank is pretty much almost as tanky as Kassadin, and they're kind of like the same in that regard, to be honest. And even Kha'Zix is really just going pure damage. He does have a little bit of health from that Black Cleaver, but that's it. There's the engage. Foodbreaker out of position again. He gets jumped on, but he's going to be pulled away with a Lantern. And a huge Q combo. Kha'Zix in the backline, probably going to 1v1 Caitlyn, but they are going to kill him. They will be fine to clean up this knife. Oh, actually, Filthy Casual just barely getting away. Son of POV, maybe. Does he have it? Triforce the speed. No, gets the slow there. Oh, he does with the long-range rake. And Thresh cleaning up the mess in the backline there was not enough to save his AD carry Caitlyn, but it was enough to pick up the kill there. And that's going to be a 4-for-1 trade for Phallic Justice as they push this in. They only have about 1 second on the Blitzcrank, 5 seconds on the Cat, so they might not be able to finish this off here. We'll see what they can do. Just dodging the hook from Blitzcrank. They might be able to finish the game right here. Kha'Zix in 5 seconds as well as Kassadin. They're going to back off, I think. They're on the same page. There's the engage from Katarina. Actually going to get stunned down from Amumu. They want to back off. There's the hook on a Leona, and she's going to go down immediately. Great hooks the entire game from Nick. And they're just going to back off and pick up these health relics here. Which, even though I call them health relics, you still do get mana from them, of course. So they're going to be very nice for everybody involved. They just want to clear those up and then come back here on the map. 15 seconds on Leona, so they're just going to want to chill for right now. No, they're going to go ham! Not chill, they're going to go kill Greece, Mid, and A. Engage right now. Amumu is not there with his team. That's why I was saying they're going to chill for right now, because Amumu was in the back line, but they don't care. They're far enough ahead, and Leona's not in the fight, so it is a 5v4 now that Amumu's here, cleaning up the back line. They turn the 4v4 into a 4v5. Ace in the hole, going to be killing Kha'Zix. Slow from Kassadin is not going to be enough to save his bug buddy, and they only have 1 turret left with about 15 seconds on Blitzcrank, about 5 on Cat, so they might be able to close this turret out here. Shyvana might go down. Do they have the damage? No! Oh, they do. No, they don't. There's the slow from Leona. She will catch up in time. The Lantern shields her just barely enough. Katarina's going to try and jump in, but it's basically a 1v4. She's going to reset. She is going to take down Shyvana, but there's the Zonias, and they're going to jump on her immediately after. There's the ultimate from Amumu. Triple kill for Caitlyn. This should be the game here if they focus the Nexus and kite properly. Let's see what they're trying to do. Oh, the pull actually on the super minion. Kate is attacking Kha'Zix. If they kite around, they should be able to take this here. They turn their attention to Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank popping the heal, but there's not going to be enough to save himself. Kha'Zix is going to try and turn things around. It's enough to stall for Kassadin. There's the hook on a Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix might go down. EQ combo. The EQ actually just barely misses. SSW Xing Chong. Filthy Casual going to get killed there. Foodbreaker picking up another kill. Amumu picking up that one, and that is going to be Phallic Justice version 2 picking up the first win of our tournament here and moving on to the next round. Alright, so they're moving on to the quarterfinals, I believe. I'm not sure who they'll be facing in the next round. I'll give you guys an update here very shortly. But thank you guys for watching and listening. We are the Random Championship Series, and we'll be setting up the next lobby here very shortly. Give us a minute or two, and we'll be right into the next game. My name is Streetbull. You can find me on Twitter @Streetbull, and on YouTube, youtube.com/Streetbull. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be right back.
try to forget that you were here. Some part of me wants to disappear with you. My soul and all that I could afford. So only gonna fall into what you explore.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Random Championship Series Golden Under ARAM tournament for today, Thursday, February the 19th. My name is Streetbull, and we are in our quarterfinals right now between the blue side, Phantom, and the purple side, Phallic Justice version 2, as we just saw in the last game. And they have picked themselves up another couple 80 carries in this game. This time they've got themselves a Quinn and an Ashe here, with a Mundo as well as a Leona, we were against in the last game, and a Lulu, who Lulu's actually pretty darn good here as well. As I mentioned before, I feel like supports are pretty darn strong on ARAM, and Lulu is one of those you can kind of switch back and forth between support and solo lane, so she's going to be really helpful. And then you can build her AP, but she's also going to be really helping out the team, and that she can provide shields as well as polymorphs and slows and all that kind of great stuff. And her ultimate is really, really versatile in that she can use it offensively or defensively. Say if Leona engages and gets a knock up, a slow or whatever, she can pop up and get that knock up on everybody with her ultimate, or she can save one of her 80 carries or things like that with the save ultimate, get some extra health and knock some people up. But on the side of Phantom, they do have an 80 carry, but a bunch of bruisers really. They've got kind of their assassin AP in their Diana, and then they've got an assassin AD in Riven. They've got a couple bruisers in Olaf and Wukong, and they have their 80 carry backline in Ezreal. So not too bad of a setup right there. So they have 3 Ignites, actually, they're opting to take, which is a little bit surprising. Now, as I mentioned in most of our ARAM tournaments, I do like taking at least 2 heals, or at least 1, I guess, if not 2 heals there. But usually I'd go for something like someone else should take a Barrier or Exhaust or something like that, just kind of mix it up to have a little bit more variety. But the triple Exhaust, double heal setup, coming again from Phallic Justice, they seem to like that setup. I mentioned before, I thought they were doing it because they were facing 3 assassins. So take an exhaust for each assassin. But in this game, they're facing kind of, I guess, 2 assassins, 2 bruisers, and then an 80 carry. So having 3 exhausts, I don't know about that. But you could say exhaust the Wukong when he comes into his ultimate, or having an exhaust for the Olaf would be good. Because even though, of course, you can't like slow him down or stop him with the ultimate, it's not going to slow him down. It will kind of decrease his damage. But we'll see how this Olaf builds. If he builds tanky or if he builds more damaging. We'll see which one from Phantom decides to kind of take up that role for their team, as we already have kind of 2 designated tanks for the side of Phallic Justice on the purple side. When you've got a Leona and a Dr. Mundo, you've already got, like, you already know these two guys, we already have tank covered. And their team comp is going to be pretty good for that, as they have a giant front line with those two, as I was just talking about, and a good mixed damage back line in a Quinn Ashe as well as a Lulu. Quinn is a little bit more of a 1v1 type AD carry. She's better at top than she is AD carry because she's good at kind of dueling and working in long lanes where she can use her ultimate to really like run kind of far and things like that, to engage or disengage when she does or doesn't want to. So she's a good split pusher and things like that, where Ashe is going to be super strong on Howling Abyss just because she's able to spam her volleys constantly. Just pretty much, I'm expecting her to start with a tier, like a tier longsword and some pots or something like that, and then just spam her volleys all game long and just really be annoying, which is going to be kind of countered by the Ezreal Q spam that you'll see coming out from XO Babe OX here on the side of Phantom. But I think that with the help from Lulu as well as Quinn, they should have an easier time pushing the lane, and I imagine that Phallic Justice version 2 will be able to kind of take control of early game like they did the last time, which is going to be good because they need for Mundo to scale up a little bit. In the early game, he's not going to be that useful. They're going to have to wait for him to kind of scale up and become an actual real frontline tank, where in the beginning of the game he really isn't. He's more just kind of like a half tank, and you can kind of just throw cleavers with him. But, like I said, Phallic Justice should be able to kind of delay until they get Mundo to that point with the wave clear they have coming out from their team with their 280 carries and their mid laner in Lulu. Alright, as we get into the game here, I just want to remind you all that we are the Random Championship Series, and you can visit us on our website, randomcs.com. You can sign up for our RCS newsletter. It's on the randomcs.com. randomcs.com. You can scroll down to the very bottom there. You'll see our RCS newsletter button. You can sign up for that and make sure you're not missing any of our upcoming events or giveaways. You can also sign up for our RCS newsletter on our Facebook page as well, which is re.cs, re like the champion.cs. So go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/re.cs. If you scroll down a little bit on the left-hand side, you'll see our RCS newsletter button. So just click on that and make sure you're signed up to make sure that you are not missing any of our upcoming events and giveaways, because all of our tournaments are free to enter and they all have RP prizes, and some of them actually have cash prizes as well. So very cool stuff, and they're all free to enter. So just make sure you're signed up for that, or make sure you're checking out our site, our website, randomcs.com, and clicking the upcoming events tab to make sure you're not missing any of those wonderful things that we're putting on for everybody. And I also want to remind everybody that our resident artist here, our lead RCS artist, is Rinrin, and you can see her at randomcs.com/RinrinDaishi. That's randomcs.com/RinRinDaishi, and she is our lead artist. She did all the cool site backgrounds you can see on randomcs.com for all of our different tournaments, all the wonderful lore and spark art. She did that, so shout out to her. If you want to get any work done by her, visit her, like I said, randomcs.com/RinRinDaishi, and she'll get back to you and do some cool stuff for you, because her art is amazing, and we want to thank her so much for doing all that wonderful stuff for the Random Championship Series. Alright, getting into the game here, this is our quarterfinals for the Random Championship Series Golden Under ARAM tournament for today, Thursday, February 19th, and my game just crashed yet again, so we'll jump back in here in a second. But right now we have the blue side, Phantom, and the purple side, Phallic Justice version 2. Like I said before, it is the quarterfinals, and whoever wins this game will be facing Morbos Destroyers in the semi-final game on the top side of the bracket. And I believe, actually let me just confirm right here, I believe the other semi-final game, yes, on the bottom side of the bracket, the other semi-final game is going to be ARAM on duty versus Pink Pickle Poppers. And like I said before, Phantom versus Phallic Justice in this game will face Morbos Destroyers in the top side of the semi-finals to see who gets the first place prize in our grand spot, or our first grand prize in our first place spot. Mixing things up there. But like I said, we should hopefully see a tier, and actually no Ashe opting to get the Stinger. Really interesting start there for Ashe. So the cooldown reduction I like, because she'll be able to spam volley more, but I don't like the Stinger buy because it's 40% attack speed, and you don't really need attack speed as Ashe, especially on ARAM. Like, sure, attack speed's nice on an AD carry, but on ARAM, I just want my Ashe to literally just spam W. All I want her to do is auto attack and spam her volley just all day long. And with a Stinger, she's not going to be able to do that really. She'll be able to spam it quicker with the CDR, but the attack speed's really not going to help her out that much. I would have liked to see, like I mentioned before, a tier longsword start. I'm pretty sure you can get a tier and then a longsword and then I think 3 pots on top of that, which I think that would have been a really nice start for her. Or really, I don't know. I mean, sure, it's nice to get like kind of a decent little item to start the game with like that, but I really feel like there's just so many things that she could have bought differently. Even if she started with like a chalice or something, that would have been better. I feel anything with mana regen so she can spam her volley. As you've seen right now, all she's done so far is just auto attack. There's one volley, and already she's losing mana. And we'll see how much she can kind of hold on to that mana before. But Olaf is picking up a Guardian's Horn, which is going to be really strong. They buffed it in, I believe, 5.1, I think, which it was already strong before that, and then buffing it again, I really feel like that item was broken before, and now it's even more broken since they buffed it. So I really like that pickup there for Olaf. It's a really cost-effective item. I'm pretty sure it only costs about 1,200 gold, and it's only a 25-second cooldown on the active, so it's going to be really, really good for his team. And especially in Olaf, that has no actual kind of gap close. He really relies on hitting his axes and just not getting slowed and just running after somebody. So having that extra movement speed as well as the tankiness from that active is going to be really, really strong for him and his entire team. And Phantom have already used 3 of their little Poro snacks already, so really making sure those Poros get fed there, helping out for maybe they're members of the SPCA. Is that a thing in other places than where I live? I don't even know. But Wukong starting with a Brutalizer, which again, it's sort of like the Stinger in that I was saying, it's like, that's really nice that you can start with that early item, and it works better for Wukong because it actually gives him stats that he wants, where Ashe, the attack speed isn't really something she needs that much right now. Like, if she's just standing in the back the entire game, and not making use of her volley, which, as I mentioned before, I really felt like the side of Phallic Justice version 2 should control this early game, but right now they're not. They're getting pushed in by Phantom because they're just allowing the pace to be dictated there. Their side of Phantom is just being way more aggressive. They're just zoning way harder. Leona's not being aggressive enough. Mundo's not being aggressive enough. Ashe isn't being aggressive. The entire team of Phallic Justice is being really, really safe. I think they're kind of just waiting to scale, but with their comp, they can have Lulu, Quinn, and Ashe all poke really hard. They just need Leona and Mundo to zone for them, which they're not doing right now. They're kind of having their back line just come up and just shoot kind of willy-nilly. Diana getting some Q poking there, but she can't follow up on it. And this is exactly what they need to do. There you go, follow up and then go in here, get some good poke, and then back off with Leona. You have your carries in the back line trade. As long as the enemy team is attacking one of your tanks, you'll be fine. Your carries can actually just trade free damage. Foodbreaker's going to pick up the health there, and his mana almost back to full as well. So he should be able to hopefully try and spam some things out there. I want to see Leona actually even using her Zenith Blade to just clear waves faster as well, get the Sunlight proc onto it so that her 80 carries can hit those minions for more damage. Because if you have extra mana like that, just push the wave in, just shove this wave, and just bully them in for right now. There's Quinn in the front line. That's what I like to see, some more aggression from Quinn, popping the little the mirror image there from Wukong. Diana again curving her little Q there, but not really doing that much right now. Like I mentioned, until she gets her ultimate, she can't follow up on that, so it's really not very effective until you can jump on top of the Q and really just chase down people and be the true assassin. Before level 6, Diana is really not the same champion she is that we all kind of understand Diana to be. Diana's kind of the same as Akali in that regard, in that until they hit level 6 and they get their actual real gap closer, they're really just not that great of champions. They have to rely a lot on just playing safe and just being smart early until they get that gap close, and then they can start being an assassin, murder, kill spree monster. So we'll see here, it's almost level 6 time. We'll see who makes the first move, because as we saw in the last game, once level 6 was hit, it was Leona that made that happen, but Foodbreaker's on Leona this time, where it was the enemy team that was on the Leona before, where Foodbreaker was playing Caitlyn in the last game, but he was getting himself out of position a few times, so I'd like, there he is, he's actually using, is he listening to me on stream? He used the Zenith Blade there to actually get the Sunlight proc on all of those minions and push the wave faster, so I like seeing that. When she's got all that mana to burn, might as well. And she actually opted to start with a Giant's Belt Cloth Armor, so really interesting start there for Leona. She just went for pure tank stats. We saw in the game prior, a couple people had bought actual support items like Relic Shields and things like that, but she's just going straight for tanky stacks, which is, I like to see that. The support items really aren't that great unless you're stalling out the game pretty darn long, but ARAMs usually go not that long, so I really like to just have just more straight stats and things like that, just get actual items. And Olaf just still chilling there. Of course, nobody can go back and buy items right now, but having that horn is just so helpful because the active is just, you can just use it over and over and over again. So in a game where you're not able to go back to the fountain and buy new items once you get an advantage, having something you can just use repeatedly over and over again is really, really helpful. So I think that any team that isn't picking up a Guardian's Horn is probably making a mistake unless they're doing some sort of strat that I don't know about. But usually that item is pretty darn good. Just throw it on your tank. Like, for example, Leona could have the Guardian's Horn and just use it as a zoning tool, to be honest. Even if she doesn't want to engage, if you run at the enemy team as a Leona and pop the Guardian's Horn, they will run away from you for 3 seconds because they know they have that small little timing window where you're going to be super tanky and super fast, and they should just probably back off to keep themselves safe. But Diana is level 6, and actually like a beast there on Riven, right in the front. There's the engage from Moonbreaker. Moonbreaker getting knocked back, flashes away the ultimate from Wukong as well. He's going to die as well. Quinn going down too. Mavinator in the front line. Let's see if he can get anything. No, he goes straight down there. Shaco Elo trying to kite in the back line with Son of POV. Riven actually still alive in the back line. Exhausted, barely staying alive there from the Lulu poke. Trading with Ezreal as Ashe, but she wants to back off right now. Ezreal tanking some minions. He decides to back off as well. So 2-2 trade here in the early game, and it's pretty much just straight even for both sides right now. They finish up in gold, only 100 away from each other, and once this minion wave gets killed here, they should be pretty much caught up. And actually, yeah, no, pulling ahead actually is the side of Phallic Justice to get those minions by about 200 gold, but pretty even trade for both sides. And Quinn actually opting to get a BF sword as well as the Bilgewater. There's the engage. Great exhaust. Beautiful use of the exhaust. It's exactly how you want to use it. And that's why exhaust counters assassins so bad as the assassin goes in and they're relying on getting the kill there. So just exhaust them as soon as they come in. They can't get that insta-kill and they just will die if you all turn on them. Well played there. And I think who was that? That was actually, I believe, Foodbreaker's exhaust. So really good use of the exhaust there by Foodbreaker, playing that support role well with Leona. And Ashe is sitting on a pretty amount of CS right now, so it'll be really nice for her when she actually gets to back. And as I mentioned before, the Stinger, I'm kind of harping on Ashe for getting that Stinger. It is good for actual fights. It is good for like actual team fights and things like that, but I wanted them to abuse the early game more. They seem to be kind of relying on a little bit in the late game, which is not too bad because, as mentioned before, of course, Mundo scales extremely well, but I still feel like they could have gotten more of an advantage in the early game than they kind of got with, because early game is over now. They're in more of the team fight phase, and they're only ahead by about 500 or so gold, which I feel like they could have been about 1,000 ahead if they had played the early game a little bit more aggressive there, and Ashe had possibly bought a bit differently, because she can poke extremely well. Like, Lulu didn't really get much poke off, nobody really got much poke off, and they have a very pokey team, especially when your volley pretty much covers the entire width of the map. On Summoner's Rift, it's a lot harder to hit a volley because it's way bigger, but on Howling Abyss, it's easy to hit volleys, it's easy to hit Ashe arrows as well. And they have a giant follow-up train from Leona on the Ashe arrow as well, and you can of course pop like the Lulu ultimate like I mentioned before, so you have a really good CC train for team fights if they can all coordinate together and land that all at the same time, the side of Phallic Justice version 2. Let's see if Ezreal can grab so they're taking too much. He does. There's the ultimate from Leona, but it only slows. There's the Ashe arrow as well. This is a little bit of a miscoordination, actually. 2 ultimates burned. Wow. And the side of Phantom is just going to kind of back off for right now and then re-engage a little bit later. They know that there's no ultimate from Ashe as well as Leona. Now, Ashe's ultimate has a ridiculously low cooldown, so it will be back up soon. But they have a small timing window right now where they can fight the side of Phallic Justice version 2 without 2 of their ultimates. So Phantom is in a good place right now. Let's see if they capitalize on it. Phallic Justice is pushing this wave and giving themselves more map control right now. Actually, Babe LX is in the front line right now. I don't know about that. They should have actually just waited and frozen the wave in front of their turret to force Phallic Justice to come up if they do want to get their CS. The same kind of wave mechanics still apply, like to actually freezing and pushing waves and stuff like that. The same thing applies to ARAM maps, in that if you want to get a kill on your opponent, if you see that your opponent, their cooldowns are low and you want to fight, freeze the wave in front of your turrets, so if they want to fight, if they want to CS rather, they have to get into a dangerous range where they are super far away from their turret and you can actually get a kill on them, you can get a jump on them, and they have to run a long way to get back to safety, where there they just straight over commit. Like, they just started running. It's the equivalent of, like, and I'm not a hunter by any means, but it's like they always say about like hunting, that don't scare away the deer. Like, you gotta sneak up on it. You can't just run at it like, ah! Which is exactly what the side of Phantom is doing right there. Babe OX is in the front line just screaming his head off, running at them, going, I want to fight you, I want to fight you, I want to fight you. And when someone hears that, when your prey hears that, they're just going to run away from you. They don't want to get involved in that mess. So right now, Ash's ultimate is back up, Leona's ult is back up, and that is a timing window lost for the side of Phantom. And now they decide to engage with both ults are back up. There's the Lulu ultimate popping up, all 5 members. Foodbreaker's giant right now, and that is exactly what Lulu is so great at. Foodbreaker needs to back out though, stays in the front line too long. Whoa, there's the Quinn ultimate turning around, and that is going to be a triple kill. I have never seen such a kind of turning of a Quinn ultimate before. Now usually of course it does a fair amount of damage as an execute, but still that was an absolute massacre, really turning that fight. Leona the only one lost for the side of Phallic Justice, and Jarhead is going to try and get executed right now, but it's going to be a shutdown there for Like a Beast. Like a Beast picking up a kill there. 2-0-2 right now for Riven, still alive even though he's putting himself in some sticky situations. The only one for the side of Phantom to keep himself from returning to the shop and have to spend his little pocket full of change. But Ash is 1-0-6 right now. Lulu and Ash, the only members of the side of Phallic Justice that have not died yet, and once they do go back, they will have a lot of money to spend on some nice items, but for right now, they're going to be sitting behind currently. And as I mentioned before, usually the team that's losing in ARAM, the one that's died more, will have better items for the time being. And as we see, Frozen Mallet, Zhonya's Hourglass, as well as Morello Nomicon finished for the side of Phantom, were really the only big complete items for Phallic Justice are Quinn's Blade of the Rune King and the Randuin's Omen coming out from Leona. So it's kind of like a 2-for-3 trade here in terms of items. A little bit more kind of item value and actual stats for the side of Phantom right now, but once Phallic Justice actually dies, well, once several of their members die, they will be able to go back and get that gold, or get that item advantage made up for, because they do have the gold advantage right now. But for the time being, they have to be careful about fights because they're not really that far ahead. There's the engage from Leona, the ultimate, or the arcane shift rather, excuse me, from Ezreal going back. No ultimates burned from the side of Phallic Justice, and they should keep themselves safe. There's a flash. There's the ultimate from Leona, and Leona keeps burning that ultimate when her team is not ready to engage. She's hitting them when they're all grouped up together, which is good, but the team is just not on the same page. They're not really calling it out together. Next time she does that, she needs to kind of let the team know beforehand. There's the engage from Osama have been lagging, but nobody turns on it actually, and he doesn't get that much of a trade on him. I was expecting more of a trade. You see, that was more I was expecting. Even more damage, to be honest, turned on in Diana than she got right there. But usually when someone jumps in, just have everybody immediately just trade damage back on them. If they want to jump in and get a free trade, don't let them. Try and CC them, blow them up with whatever you have. Just instantly just slam all your spells onto them when they try and jump in. Make them pay and make them think twice about doing that again, really. Olaf going to collect his axe in the enemy bush. He doesn't even care right now. He is quite tanky with that Guardian's Horn and the Frozen Mallet, which will be nice. Yeah, I don't know about the Frozen Mallet. I understand what he's trying to do, but I feel like Olaf already has the slow from his axes. You don't really need the Frozen Mallet. Once you get in the melee range, like, I understand that it'll slow people away, but I feel like there's enough disengage from the side of Phallic Justice that having the auto attack slow from Frozen Mallet isn't really going to do what you need. You already have the axes to get the slow off, so it's just kind of redundant, I guess, for Olaf right there, even though he is trying to get something tanky and something that does damage at the same time. So I understand that. But the Frozen Mallet isn't that great of an item anyways. It's not that cost effective, and I really feel like it's only good on certain champions. Like, I feel like it's good on Gnar, for example, because then it makes baby Gnar, Gnar's regular form, actually really scary, because he can just chase you down with auto attacks, and if he lands 3, then he can just really chase you down even more with, of course, the passive from that W, I believe it is. There's the engage there with the ultimate from Wukong, and Foodbreaker actually goes in to try and disengage Riven. Riven flashes forward. There's the polymorph. That is beautiful right there, and Riven is going to go down. That's exactly how you want to play it. Ezreal getting locked up right in the middle of the Leona ultimate in the back line. Is going to be a point-blank volley to kill Diana. Beautiful trade from Phallic Justice, and there is the giant Mundo and Leona tanking for the team, trying to jump in the back line, and they should be able to take down this turret right here. Mundo's still tanking right now. They need to get their minion wave in line. But right now, they're just going to trade tank it off each other. Some have been lagging, needs to be careful. They could straight up engage on this, and yeah, I was going to say, there's the trophy killing Wukong, but I think that Wukong might have actually took that death on purpose so he could be ready for his team to jump back in line, but they might lose a second turret for that right now. Let's see if Riven can make something happen. Foodbreaker in the front line, going to try and zone out for his team. The Ignite coming down from Riven, and they're going to actually not get the turret right before they do just finally when they're trying to run away. And Shaco Elo is going to try and do the same thing he did last game right there. Foodbreaker dying. Nick is going to go down here to Mavinator very slowly. The axes will slowly slow him down. And this is what I was talking about before, where like you don't really need the Frozen Mallet. You're already slowing him with the axes. You don't really need that other item. And we'll see, actually no, oh, actually no, I was going to say, we'll see if Shaco Elo can do the same thing he did last time. If Mavinator goes in that bush, no, he turns off to the side, and Shaco Elo will be able to get the execute on himself here. Another cheeky little play. But he might actually want to just shoot the arrow or something backwards before he does do that. Something kind of crazy to help out his team, because he's kind of putting them in a sticky situation right now. He waited so long that they're going to get a free turret from this. So as I mentioned before, I like the execute play coming from Shaco Elo. Oh no, they have an open inhibitor. Oh, I completely forgot. My apologies. What a great play coming from Shaco Elo. The problem is all he has is a stinger, so he's doing no damage to this freaking inhibitor. He might have to kill himself pretty quickly here. I don't think he's going to be able to get it down in time. Yeah, he needs to kill himself. Get to the turret. He needs to kill himself real quick. There's the flash from Diana, and that's what I was worried about. Diana actually picks up the kill. But that inhibitor is so low. But it is a 4v5 currently for Phallic Justice. They need to be careful. But a very cheeky play coming from Shaco Elo, but a little bit greedy. He should have just killed himself there and let the inhibitor stay alive before there was a flash engage from Diana. He should have known that Diana would be willing to flash for it. There's the pullback, ultimate onto Quinn, but that's not going to be enough. The ultimate pop from Mundo as well, and the two tanks in the front line are just going to try and kind of be a meat shield for the time being. Son of POV actually turning reasonably well on them. They are going to turn. Leona going crazy right now. Ash needs to ult if they're going to go in on this. She needs to do it right now. Go do something. There it is. There we go. Getting that ultimate onto Diana on the front line and just go ham. She's running around to the side, attacking some minions. Get in there. We need to jump. These guys need to jump in there right now. The axe is coming from Olaf, and they're just all going to disengage right now. I feel like there's oh my goodness, no, Son of POV. Oh, face checking the bush right there, which I mean, there's no wards anyway, so it's hard not to face check. But Foodbreaker getting a double kill right now. Leona support going crazy. There's the Olaf trying to kill Ash, but she's going to flash away, and Mavinator is going to go down, and it's going to be a clean ace. A 5 for 1, excuse me, trade from Phallic Justice, and they've got about 10 seconds before Ezreal spawns and the monkey spawns, and they should be able to grab this inhibitor for free. So really good play there, really good team fight to clean it up there at the end from Phallic Justice. After Lulu kind of got caught in the bush, they really turned it around nicely on them, and Shaco Elo is probably going to go down here. Are they going to get her down before they get someone? No! Some of them are picking up the kill there with the Ignite. Also, Foodbreaker will go down here, but Nick trying to get the kill on some of them logging before he does go down. Nope, it is going to... Monkey stays alive. Double kill for Riven. And they're going to be pushing up to see what they can take from this. Quinn trying to just continuously slow. She is going to grab that health relic, and she should be able to stay alive. The Ezreal ultimate going to whittle her down a bit, but the blinds coming onto Riven are going to be more than enough, as well as the super minions blocking the way there. Phantom having to push through the tough enemy minion line to try and make something happen. There is one turret defending that inhibitor still, and they still have an Ashe that'll volley spam, and a Quinn and a Lulu that can clear waves pretty nicely. So they should be alright with this turret. They just need to not take too much poke here. Quinn taking a fair amount of poke from Ezreal right now. They need to be careful before their team actually gets there, because once Leona and Mundo actually get to the team again, they can just jump on them and make some stuff happen. But really weird build coming out from Ashe. She's got an Infinity Edge and a Zephyr. Yeah, so I don't know. Hey, why not? She's doing pretty well so far. There's the ultimate coming from Ashe, and they should be able to engage on this. The jump away from Wukong, he does have his mirror to jump away, but he's slowed from Mundo's trophy. A giant Leona in the backline, gonna jump on. She gets the kill, and Zenith plays through onto Ezreal. What a play! And uses the ultimate on Mavinator to his side. Kind of splitting her efforts right there. Really good job from Leona to try and get as much as she can. The Zenith blade just barely out of range, but they should be able to push this in and take down a turret with their, turret with their 80 carries rather. Mavinator getting jumped in, Ashe the one to pick up the kill. Oh, flash away, and Quinn barely survives. This should be the game for Phallic Justice if they can get this in time. Riven gonna try and make one last ditch effort. Flashes forward, gonna try and make it happen. The disengage right now, but Riven goes down. 1v5, unfortunately. Wukong, one last effort. The ultimate, but that will be the game for Phallic Justice, and they are going to move on in our tournament into the semifinals to face Morbos Destroyers. And whoever wins that game will face Pink Pickle Poppers in the grand final. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, we're the Random Championship Series, randomcs.com. My name is Streetball. You can find me on Twitter at Streetball, youtube.com/Streetball. We'll be in the next lobby very shortly. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be right back.
Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Go until you're out of sight and you're out of my mind. Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Floating as the river flows, easy as it goes to the ocean. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never try. Secrets in your eyes. You go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart, heart, breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart. Lost in the midnight blue, shadows of the moon. Here with open arms for you, feeling something so new. Said with me you'd reach the sun, oh but we were so young. Love me till the summer's done, but keep me in your heart, so I hold on. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Random Championship Series Golden Under ARAM tournament for today, Thursday, February the 19th. My name is Streetball and I'll be your caster for tonight, and we are in our semi-final game right now. We've been following Phallic Justice V2 throughout the top of the bracket so far, and they are in the semi-finals right now versus Morbos Destroyers. So it's going to be Phallic Justice V2 on the blue side and Morbos Destroyers on the purple side. So first game tonight where we don't actually have an AD carry. It's going to be a lot of AP and then a bunch of bruisers, it seems. So we've got Syndra as well as, we got the Soraka. So Soraka is going to be really, really annoying to deal with here. Soraka is going to be able to just heal everybody on her team and really be annoying with, of course, she has these spells that are pretty hard to dodge on a small map like the ARAM map of Howling Abyss. And of course, the Scion ultimate actually as well is going to be really fun to watch. because of course you can just run straight from base and there's nowhere to dodge to. It's really just kind of going straight bowling there. It's like bumper bowling almost, you know what I mean? Where where you can't get a gutter ball, it just bounces off the side for the kids so they don't feel bad about themselves because there's nowhere to run to away from the Scion ult. There's no trees to hide behind. You're just going to get straight murdered on the straight kind of lane map we have here. But a bunch of assassins, well, a fair amount of assassins coming out for the side of Morbo's Destroyers. Annie, of course, can be considered an assassin. Cassid an assassin. Lee Sin can be played like an assassin. And really, Teemo can be played like an assassin as well. But they are going to have to wait for a little while till that Cassid becomes quite strong. But Orianna and Annie should be able, with a little help from Teemo, should be able to do some decent wave clear right now. Now, like I mentioned, because they don't really have any AD carries, it's going to be reasonably even. The real kind of difference that I see between the two teams is in tankiness. It's a very squishy team for Morbo's Destroyers, and it's a reasonably tanky team for Phallic Justice. The Scion is going to be pretty much tanky no matter what happens. They also have, of course, the heals coming out from Soraka, and then Wukong and Xin Zhao kind of get inherently tanky in what they build. They could be assassin built, but you never know. They might go for something pure damage. They might go for something pure tank. They might go for half and half, which is kind of what I expect. But we might see one of them go more assassin-y because they do have that Scion as well as the heals coming out from Soraka, so they can keep themselves alive when they're squishier and try and get those kills off before they end up dying, or make the kill before they don't die altogether. You know what I mean? But everybody's picking up heals there except for Cassidon for the side of Morbo's Destroyers. Now, I'm not that big a fan of that. I love heal in general. On Howling Abyss, it's even better because your entire team is right there. So you're always going to have somebody else to heal. You'll never be in a situation where you're by yourself and you're using your heal on only yourself, because it does hit 2 people. So having those heals are going to be really great. But the problem is you can't stack the heals. Once you use the heal, it gives you a little debuff. So the next heal that's used on you is going to be halved in value. I think it's like 20 or 30 seconds or so. So having 4 of them, it's going to be hard to use them effectively. I really feel like 3 is kind of the max number you should have on ARAM before it gets a little bit overkill. And then you're going to be kind of halving your own heals as if they were ignited, just because you've used heals so often. So I would have rather seen a barrier from somebody or possibly an ignite. Actually, no, because thinking about it now, they're against a Soraka. An ignite would be beautiful. I'd like to see multiple ignites, to be honest. So I'd rather see, let's say, two heals, 2 ignites, and an exhaust, or maybe 2 heals, 2 exhausts, and an ignite, or some sort of mixture of that. But I feel like 4 heals is a bit too many, and 0 exhausts, or 0 ignites rather, is a bit too few. So kind of their scales are tipped in the wrong balance right there. And just Soraka's really annoying to play against to begin with. But then on an ARAM map, you add in the fact that you can't go anywhere. It's really hard to dodge her spells. She's going to be healing her team in a game where you can't go back to Fountain and heal yourself. The only form of sustain is through your items, through relics, or through the actual kit of the champion. So having someone that can heal you on your team is just an invaluable resource in this game style, per se. So that's why I always look for, like I said, the Sorakas and the Sonas and things like that to see which team will have a good start to their game and a good finish, because those champions just never get bad in these style of matches. So as I was saying, this is our semi-final match right now, and I'd like to remind you all we are the Random Championship Series. You can visit us on our website, randomcs.com. You can also see all of our upcoming events and things like that if you click the Upcoming Events tab on our website, randomcs.com, and you can click the About the RCS tab as well to see all of our staff and things like that. If you want to apply to be a member of the staff, you can do so through there as well. Once again, my league has crashed, so hopefully this is not going to be a continuing thing, but so far it seems to be jumping back in quick enough, so that seems to not be too much of a problem. But like I was saying, facebook.com/ari.cs as well as our Facebook page, ari.cs, Ari like the champion, AHRI.cs. You can make sure to like that and click our RCS newsletter on our Facebook page to make sure you're kept up to date on all of our upcoming events and giveaways, and make sure you don't miss any cool prizes and stuff that we're throwing out there. Our Twitter is @esportsrcs, and our new link to our Twitch TV is randomcs.com/live. It's a little bit of a shorter link. Instead of typing out twitch.tv/randomchampionshipseries, just type out randomcs.com/live, and you'll be bumped right to our Twitch page. So getting into our semi-final game on the top side of the bracket to see who gets to face Pink Pickle Poppers in the grand finals. It is the blue side Phallic Justice version 2 and the purple side Morbo's Destroyers. So Scion trying to take bush control right away, but he doesn't have his team right there, so he has to be very careful right now, and he's just going for a little jig right now, kind of dropping that axe, and that was actually kind of cool because the way he was spamming it, the axe never left the ground. It looked like he was some sort of a magician, so that's pretty cool. Maybe he's got a string attached to his finger and tied to the axe, but Foodbreaker going in for some early harass. Very aggressive start from Foodbreaker. One of the things, too, that I want to mention is that Syndra was nerfed, I believe, was it the last patch or 2 patches ago? I think it was just the last patch, actually, 5.3. Maybe it was 5.2. Where Syndra's Qs were nerfed, so Syndra is going to be a little bit weaker in lane phase, which this is mostly lane phase, so her Qs are a bit nerfed. But they did buff, I believe, they increased the range, the width at which her stun, her knockback, and stun hits people, so it should be a little bit easier to hit people with that, but her Qs are going to be doing less damage, so less 100 to 0 potential, but more chance to create picks and things for her team, as well as to stun more people on the enemy team, which should be good for a map like this where everyone's all clumped up together. So Syndra opting to start off with that Chalice, and Wukong actually opting for the triple Doran start. That's a bit interesting for me. I feel like Wukong should have opted for some other items there. As an 80 on an 80 carry, that start's reasonably alright, it's pretty good. But I feel like on Wukong, he wants to build to something better. That start really kind of tells me, like, hey, we want to make something happen early game, where once Wukong hits level 6, then that's usually when you can make something happen a little bit better. But who knows, maybe they're trying to abuse the fact that Kassadin can't jump yet, and Annie can't use her Tibbers and things like that yet. There's no ult from Ori, so maybe they're trying to win early here and force an advantage. Here's the jump in from Shaco Elo. Xin Zhao trying to get the poke up. There's the knockdown from Sion. He does catch up Zaddy Fraka. He's trying to run away in the background. There's the exhaust onto Foodbreaker. Annie trying to use fire from the backline, but everyone kind of just disengages there after a bit of trade. Nobody wanting to give up first blood. Everybody staying safe. It's probably the right idea. Both teams trading fairly even so far. And both Annie and Kassadin are opting for that Rod of Ages build, so starting with the Catalyst the Protector, as I mention every time, it's a very investment-heavy build. You're kind of just giving yourself health and mana, and hoping that later in the game it'll pay dividends once the Rod of Ages stacks. So right now you don't have exactly that many combat stats. But the one thing that is nice on top of that is, of course, the passive there from the Catalyst the Protector is every time you level up, you're going to get some HP and mana back, so that will help with sustain, as I mentioned. Of course, you can't go back to Fountain to heal, so any sort of healing, sustain, anything that's going to keep your mana and your health reasonably high is going to be really good. But there's the knockdown and knock up, rather, onto Reaper Fish, just barely staying alive. Doesn't have to pop her heal or her flash away, but the exhaust was burned from Kassadin earlier and the heal from Annie earlier as well, where all these summoners are still up for Phallic Justice. And Lee Sin actually opted to start with a Doran's Shield as well as 2 Ruby Crystals, so a very defensive start for Lee Sin, very tank Lee Sin, which is kind of what they need, as I mentioned before. They're a very squishy team, they don't have a real actual designated tank, where the side of Phallic Justice definitely does in that Scion. So Lee Sin opting to pick up that role for his team and just be a straight tank Lee Sin, which I really like, and I'm very glad that Talvis is doing, because a lot of people, especially on ARAM, are just like, nah, we don't need a tank, I'm just going to build damage, I don't even care. But Talvis knows that his team does need some sort of frontline, and Lee Sin is usually pretty darn good to build tanky. He's great on Summoner's Rift Assassin-like, because there's so much to jump around to and move around and create cool movement-based pick plays and stuff with Lee Sin. That's really where he excels, but on a small map like this, you really just want to be tanky, so when you go in to try and make plays in the team fight, you don't just get blown up immediately. It's a lot easier to try and get away on a larger map when you have a very mobile champion. When you got a mobile champion on a super small map, you're going to kind of need to change your build accordingly, especially on a team that really needs something to keep themselves alive. So Lee Sin taking up the role of tank for his team. I really, really respect that. Thank you for Lee Sin for making my day nicer here, because I hate seeing teams where nobody wants to be the tank and everybody wants to be the superstar doing all the damage. So shout out to Talvis, taking one for the team there. And as I mentioned before, actually the Relic Shield start there from I was gonna call him Sion, mixing up Xin Zhao and Sion there from Xin Zhao. So it's gonna be more of an investment build, like I said. He started with a pickaxe as well, so like flat damage as well as a bit of tankiness and some gold revenue from the Relic Shield, which will allow him to get some decent gold from the little amount of CS that he's probably gonna get here. As you can see, he only has 4 CS so far, but he's probably popped a few of his little Relic Shield dealies there. His little Relic Shield, kind of, what are they called? I don't even know what they are called. Let me try and find out here. Am I crazy? What are they called? Spoils of War. That's a good name for it, because he's getting more monies from that as his team is doing most of the CSing. That's a good way to kind of make up for that when you're not getting CS for your team. But it is putting you a bit behind in that you could spend that gold on more stats right now, but Shaco Elo is getting a lot of damage on him. Flash out from Lee Sin as well after the safeguard. Tons of spells being burned right there. And they really just traded Flash for Flash, pretty much, actually. Lee Sin over-engaging right there, as well as Xin Zhao getting caught out. So a couple members from each, or one member rather from each team, really kind of having to save their own lives there with a couple flashes. The exhaust back up from Cassidy, and the exhaust never burned from Xin Zhao. So they'll have that for the next fight here. Now that everybody is level 6, I really expect to see some sort of like a Flash Tibbers or something crazy happening, like a Flash Wukong ultimate, some sort of a Scion ultimate. Something happening here, as once people hit level 6, they start to get a bit bloodthirsty, as everybody has their ultimates now and they have their full kits available to them, which when you're a champion like Cassidy, it's going to be really strong, as well as I always mention, any sort of team fighting spells are really good on Howling Abyss because it is such a small map. It's hard to miss your Orianna ult on such a small map. It's way easier to miss it on Summoner's Rift. So look for Reaper Fish to hit some sort of a big ulti there, but big damage coming out of Soraka. And Soraka actually not opting for any sort of, she's going for pretty much like CDR and straight AP there. One of the things you can do, because of course Soraka actually has to give up her own health to heal her teammates, is actually get health regen items on your first buy as Soraka here on Howling Abyss, which seems kind of weird, but because you're giving up your own health, it's actually usually a pretty good idea, and then you can just spam heals for your team in the early game and not have to worry about keeping yourself alive. Because when you're Soraka and you're giving up your health to everybody else, you're just super low on HP the entire time, and you could be sniped by somebody if you're not careful. Which I've seen several games before, but luckily for the side of Phallic Justice, they don't really have anyone on Morbos Destroyers that can snipe her, unless it's like Cassidy jumping in the back line and putting himself in danger. So Soraka's in a decent situation to get away with it, and not be punished for the fact that she doesn't have high HP at pretty much every single point during this game. And Cassidy's actually got a fair amount of CS, considering he's a melee champion. He's been doing a good job of staying on the front line and not getting hurt too badly, and now that he is level 6, he will be able to stay safer and Rift Walk to safety, or Rift Walk in for the engage. And there's a bunch of Soraka spell damage, and she's back up nearly to full health. There's the engage from Wukong as well, still has his flash available. The knockback as well, Siren knocking them all up right there. Will they be able to go down? The Orianna ultimate hitting 2, and Foodbreaker might go down. The heal from Soraka might be enough, actually. Oh no, he steps on a mushroom. There's the heal. Oh, the summoner spell heal might be able to keep him alive. Foodbreaker just barely with enough HP, and they kite back, and they will trade 1 for nothing for the side of Phallic Justice, just barely keeping the monkey alive after he stepped on a Teemo mushroom. Teemo not having enough. Oh wow, I was gonna say not having enough AP to take down Wukong, but not having enough HP to survive the Q there from Sidra. And actually Soraka goes down. Zade Fracte picking up the kill there. Annie in the backline kills the Space Goat. And as a Rod of Ages now picked up for Cassidy, so this should be really good for the side of Morbos Destroyers now that the Rod is already going to start stacking at 8 minutes in the game. That was probably a good time to die if you're Cassidy, to be honest, because you do have enough for the Ages. Rod of Ages, get that stacking as fast as possible. Get yourself to that nice little spike in the game. Once Cassidy has his Rod of Ages, he's really tanky enough to jump in and do damage without dying instantly. And that's really what sets Cassidy apart, is he can be that assassin but also not die because he's tanky enough from that extra health he's getting. Great trade stun there. Oh, really good job of Orianna to follow up with the QW on top of the stunned member. You always want to try and combo, I guess, your spells there. If somebody's CC'd, combo your skill shots on top of that, because it's going to be way easier to hit them. So for example, if Annie gets a stun there, which is really the main thing there, Annie gets the stun, try and get some sort of a trade-off there. So Reaper Fish doing a good job with the Orianna QW, which really does a lot of damage, to be honest. Ori getting a bit of early trade there, the ball too far away to get back to her in time to block that turret shot, but they're going to send her back there to grab that relic, and she will be back in good shape and jumping back into the action. I like how Teemo set up some shrooms, both of course in the side there in the bushes as well as on top of where the relic will spawn. I really like setting down any sort of trap, anything you can lay down on the map, whether it's a Nidalee trap, Caitlyn trap, Teemo shroom, whatever it is, throw it down on top of where the relic shield spawns. So if your opponent wants to get that health and mana back, they have to step into your kind of little funhouse there in order to get themselves back in action. They might jump into this right now. Oh, both stepping on it at the same time. And that's one of the things as well, is if you are going to pop some Teemo shrooms or check the jungle against Teemo and things like that, try not to do it together, to where if you blow up the shroom, you're both going to get hit by it. Try to make sure only one person's going to get hit by that shroom. But luckily for the side of Phallic Justice, they have a Soraka to heal themselves up when they do step on those shrooms and get low on HP. Here comes Scion actually, but no, he's going to back off as soon as he steps on that shroom. That was a really good shroom there. Although these shrooms aren't doing much damage because Teemo is going for a lot of attack speed there and not much AP. So he only has the AP of the Doran's Ring. It's still enough to stop the engage from Scion. Like, Scion there would have kept going and tried to make something happen, possibly doing a point-blank ultimate. But because he got slowed by the mushroom, it's not really the damage, it's the slow that's really helping them right now. Although an AP Teemo would be doing a lot of damage with those shrooms. But, of course, AP Teemo was nerfed back in the day when his shrooms were ridiculously annoying. And he was actually seeing a bit of competitive play, and if Teemo's seeing competitive play, then you're doing something wrong. You gotta balance that ridiculous champion. And Teemo's shrooms don't do as much damage as they did before, even when you are full AP. Son of a POB almost getting jumped down, has to flash away from the Ori ultimate there, but he's willing to trade that ultimate for a flash any day. Teemo getting right in the front right there. The mirror image coming from Wukong, and he might step on the shroom. Lee Sin still out of side position, but jumps away with the safeguard. Keep himself safe. Shaco Elo gonna run away for right now, but he should have a pretty penny once he goes back to buy, because he does have that nice relic shield, getting himself some gold. Whoa, there's the flash stun from Annie, and that will be a kill on a Space Go. Whoa, everybody getting knocked back right there from Xin Zhao's ultimate, and he's trying to kill Lee Sin in the front line. Foodbreaker might go down the exhaust on the Lee Sin, be safeguards to Annie, and Cassidy picking up a kill with the Null Spear. Scion in the back right there, he flashes away with the heal as well. The jump in from Cassidy gets exhausted, he is gonna go down right here underneath the turret. Oh, does not pick up the kill with his Null Spear. Another Spear. Oh my goodness, the ultimate coming in from what's her name there? Syndra. And she actually picks up a kill on Annie in exchange. Great exhaust coming out as well. Beautifully timed. I'm sure Annie thought she was going to be able to kill Syndra right there. But Syndra exhausted and then popped the ult on top, picking up a kill for her team. And that was a pretty darn even trade, really, for both teams. There's Syndra trying to make something happen. The safeguard coming in from Lee Sin, and he's going to dodge the downward swing from Scion. Teemo taking some damage in the meantime. Lee Sin grabbing the relic just barely before he goes back to base. Not back to base because he can't. But actually goes back to turret, rather, I guess. And now the two Rod of Ages are complete for Annie and Cassidy, and they both have their needlessly large rods on top of that as well, most likely going into some Zonias on top of that. So they will be able to jump in there and then stasis themselves and keep themselves alive while the rest of their team follows up on their crazy, ridiculous engages that they've been pulling off. But they should be so strong, as I mentioned at the beginning of the game. It's an investment item going for that Catalyst to Protector and into the Rod of Ages, as it takes a while, but once they're fully stacked up, they're going to be really strong. Orianna might go down here, flashes away just barely, and they're actually going to turn it on to Shaco Elo. Lee Sin goes down as well, and Clogworth going to try and pick up a kill before dying here, but he goes straight down. That's a 1-3-2 Cassidy. Soraka picking up the kill there, actually. And Orianna might go down. Great stun onto Foodbreaker. Foodbreaker flashes away, barely staying alive there. He is poisoned currently, but he has just enough HP. There's the stun onto Annie as well. Low mana on Syndra. It's barely enough, but she has to back away as well. Everybody's taking with poison damage right now. Scion trying to maintain the front line to keep his team safe in the back as he's just dancing around, stomping his foot, having a jolly old time. Whoa! Tries to snipe Orianna. He hits her, but unfortunately not enough damage. And he might try it again in the near future, so Orianna has to be careful. But there's Annie with the stun, and she decides to throw it onto Scion, but Scion has just so much HP, and there's the shield on top of that as well. Oh my goodness, Teemo trying to kill Scion, but he might get blown up, and that is going to be another kill for Jarhead. Soraka making things work, and she has picked up her Athene's Unholy Grail, plus another Codex. So she has, I believe, 35%, let me see just real quick, 35%, yep, 35% CDR right now, which is going to be extremely strong for Soraka. A lot of her spells have super long cooldowns, like her heal, so having CDR really brings them down to a point where you can actually use them on a consistent basis instead of just using it whenever it's like really necessary. You can kind of just spam it. But as I was mentioning, with that 40% CDR comes the fact that she doesn't really have much health to heal her team with, so she's trying to get it back from using her other spells, but they might do something crazy. Lee Sin getting knocked up as well as train damage on, but he's tanking enough to stay alive. Xin Zhao using another ultimate again. They're jumping on. Annie goes down immediately. Scion picking up the kill. Ori goes down in the background as well. Talbot's trying to stay alive. He's the only taking her. Back in goes Lee Sin, or Wukong rather, and Teemo, the only one alive, but he gets stunned up and trained on top of, going to barely stay alive. Syndra will go down here, popping the heal, and just keeping herself alive more than expected, to be honest, but the minions will tank this up right now, but I don't think they'll be able to take this in time, actually. We'll see if they decide to just tank it up. They are. Xin Zhao is going to tank it, and they will have it in time. They are going to go possibly down. No, Soraka's not taking. Yes, Xin Zhao does go down there from the poison, as well as the turret execute onto Wukong. Space Scope gonna try to make the execute happen. There it is, execute, but Scion won't be able to make that happen. He is too tanky, unfortunately, and he will probably go down here to Kassadin. Kassadin gonna try and jump on him. What is he waiting for? I think he's just waiting for the slow. He doesn't want to have to jump. I'm not sure what he's waiting for. Just jump. I don't know what's going on. There we go. He's just playing super safe right there. Didn't even want to use one of his ultimate charges. He's saving that. And I mean, hey, I always tell him to jump, but I guess he didn't have to. but I would like to see him pick up that kill sooner. But I actually kind of like that delay. It's actually, when you really think about it, having him die later is better for the team because now the team has more time to attack the turret freely. Where if he had died a few seconds earlier, he could back up earlier as well. Clogworth still sitting on that Nizzler draw, does not have the Zonias yet, so he needs to be careful when he comes in. There's the heal trying to keep himself safe. Shaco Elo taking a bunch of trade damage from Teemo, and there is the damage ticking. A heal coming out there. I believe that was, whose heal was that? Oh no, that was actually a heal from Soraka, excuse me. I thought it was a summoner spell. But it was just her standard kit heal, and Annie waiting in the bush there with her passive ready. And she stuns the clone there, unfortunately. But Lee Sin goes on, flash away from Soraka, and Lee Sin does not have the damage to make that happen. He unfortunately has pure tank build, and he needs to set things up for his team. And unfortunately, for the side of Phallic Justice, there's going to be no flash on Soraka, who's super low on HP. But as long as she stays in the back, she should be alright. Because Clogworth can't really jump in there and try and assassinate her without killing himself at this point, because he doesn't have that Zonias completed. Now, Teemo's setting up shrooms in a very small path, which is the right idea. You want to put it in a slot where people can't really dodge it. Like, if you want to go this way, you're going to have to hit that shroom, basically. So really good idea to put them there. You also want to put them, like I said, in high traffic places where you know someone's going to walk, like the entrance to the bush right there, as Wukong eats a shroom. But, like I mentioned before, it is going to be mostly an AD Teemo, which I can understand why, as their team is very AP heavy. Like, I understand that makes a lot of sense to go AD. I like that on the Teemo. But having AP shrooms is way more annoying than having an actual AD Teemo. They're trying to use him as an AD carrier right now, but he doesn't have the longest attack range, and he's very unsafe as an AD carry. It's a lot easier for stuff, but when he's kind of just running around, he's not the best backline, unfortunately. There goes the monkey in. He's trying to make the pick. Xin Zhao jumping in. There's the stun with the Tibbers, actually. They're going to pick up the kill on Ori right away. Xin Zhao ultimate. Down goes Teemo in the back line. Lee Sin is trying to get after Syndra, but right now, Lee Sin, all he can do is just survive, unfortunately, until the rest of the team collapses on him. And that is going to be 4-0 right now. Oh, they're going to make it 5-0 with the exhaust. The jump in, taking the turret is Shaco Elo. Going to back out just in time. Heal from Soraka, keeping themselves alive. Clean ace for Phallic Justice. And they're going to grab themselves the second inhibitor, or the second turret rather, and the first inhibitor of the game right here. Everybody will be spawning fairly soon, except for the 15 seconds on Annie. It looks like they're probably just going to back off right now and try and collect relics along the way, which is probably a good idea. When you have someone who can heal you, might as well. They might set up a gank here, or might set up a pick rather, as Syndra's waiting in the bush, but no, they are going to back off. Sliver of health there for Soraka. Let her get that rune and keep herself safe as she pops that down, trying to get herself some HP back, but nobody walks into it, so no HP for Soraka. But she will go back and grab the second health rune and keep her team alive. This is what I mentioned before, is that Soraka is so ridiculously strong on Howling Abyss maps, and same with Sona. Anybody that can heal pretty much is going to be really, really good, especially people that can heal your team. Sustain, of course, for yourself is going to be nice, but having someone who can heal the rest of your team is great, as we just saw. Phallic Justice just went through an entire team fight where they aced Morbos Destroyer, and they're pretty much back up to full health and mana besides Soraka about a minute later, which is pretty ridiculous. Wukong actually deciding to pick up the Ravenous Hydra as well as the Brutalizer, so as I mentioned before, I was expecting one of the two, either Xin Zhao or Wukong, to go more AD, and it looks like Wukong has picked up that torch, going for pretty much pure damage, other than the fact that he's got a little bit of tankiness from the 3 Doran's Blades. So not bad. I kind of like how he actually did that then. As I was mentioning before, I was saying that I wished Wukong would have gone something different to start the game, instead of the 3 Dorans, but actually I like it now that he's going pure damage, because those 3 Dorans, there's a great Orianna ultimate onto the Kassadin, actually jumping in as Xin Zhao, slicing everyone up. We'll see if they're able to finish this up. Will Syndra be able to do a 1v1? Oh no, Kassadin picks up the kill. He'll be able to jump back into the fight in the back line, though. Teemo is going down, as well as Annie. If he can get the kill before the monkey, no. Lee Sin does not have enough damage to clean up this fight, though. Kassadin going to try and make something happen before he dies. Drift walks and flashes away, but Lee Sin, unfortunately, with his tankiness, is only tanky enough to stay alive to watch his team die. They do not have enough peel in the back line. They're not positioning properly enough. Unfortunately, that was a beautiful Kassadin Orianna ultimate combo, but it was not enough to take down Phallic Justice. They're just too strong right now. Oriana gonna have one more attempt to try and keep things in safe position, but nope, there is Soraka with the ultimate, and they're gonna knock them up as well with the Scion. Gonna go for the Nexus here. We'll see if they can make it happen. The flash over the side. Foodbreaker probably will go down. Shaco Healer might go down as well. Are they gonna be able to do this? Scion has no real damage, but he's tanky as heck. The super minions beating away. Will they have enough wave clear to try and get this? Oh, they need to jump from the super minions. I don't think they're gonna have enough. No, will they have enough? Will they have enough? The minions. No, that is going to be game, and Phallic Justice V2 picks up the win and moves on into the grand finals, where they will face Pink Pickle Poppers, and for our grand prize of 3200 RP per player plus a Triumphant Rise skin per player, of course. And in the third place game, Morbos Destroyers will face ARAM on duty for the third place prize of 1600 RP per player. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we're moving on to the lobby of our grand finals here very shortly. Once again, we are RandomCS.com, the Random Championship Series. My name is Streetball. Find me on Twitter at Streetball, YouTube.com/Streetball, and we'll be on to the grand finals of our ARAM tournament right after this. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Random Championship Series Golden Under ARAM tournament for tonight, Thursday, February 19th. Sorry for the little bit of delay right there, having a little bit of technical issues, but we are back in action. As I said, we are in our ARAM Golden Under tournament, and we are in the grand finals right now between the blue side, Phallic Justice, and the purple side, Pink Pickle Poppers. So I think that's fitting that the Pink Pickle Poppers are on the purple side. because then I can say P's a bunch of times over and over again. And as we mentioned before, the things that I look for usually in ARAM tournaments are, do they have Soraka, Sona, things like that, something that can heal, a support type thing. So they've got a Taric, so that's pretty nice. They can actually get some heals out from Taric, although Taric's heal is pretty bad. It's not the greatest in the world, but still, having any sort of healing is going to be nice for their team. And then also the second thing after that is who has the 80 carries. So far it looks like the side of Phallic Justice is the only team that has an 80 carry. So they're going to have a nice, reasonably well-balanced team, and then they've got a bunch of tanks and an 80 carry, where the other side seems to mostly just have a bunch of tanks. They've got a kind of a monster mash setup. They've got the Evil Knight in Mordekaiser, they've got the Cowman in Alistar, they've got Skarner, the crazy scorpion thing, and then they've got some weird, crazy demon witch Morgana lady. The only one who seems nice and friendly there is Leona, who's a Lady of the Sun. So everybody else, they're kind of all dark and evil themed there on their team. But they've got a pretty darn tanky team in that Leona, Skarner, and Alistar setup, who are pretty much all three designated tanks, really. Now, Skarner can be built AP and things like that. I've actually seen like Trinity Force Skarner and things like that before, which was actually not too bad, to be honest. I've seen some weird Skarner stuff that's worked pretty well, to be honest. But I'm expecting to see him tank. We'll see what they decide to do here. Because as we saw last game, Teemo went AD because his team was pretty much all AP, and they wanted to have some sort of mixed damage so that they couldn't just get the enemy team couldn't just stack magic resistance and completely nullify them. So it'll be interesting to see what Pink Pickle Poppers does to kind of deal with the fact that their team is mostly AP. Like I mentioned before, a little bit more well-rounded for the side of Phallic Justice. They do have an actual 80 carry to push waves and things like that, but Mordekaiser's not too bad at pushing waves. We'll just see if he can do that in the front line without getting poked out too hard. But the fact that they only really have one member in the back line of Phallic Justice would make it so that Pink Pickle Poppers don't have that much of a problem getting up to the front line to CS and things like that. Like Morgana should be able to push with her pool, as well as kind of the threat of her snares and things like that should allow people to get up front. Mainly Mordekaiser to get up there and stack his shield and things like that. But again, the patented 3 exhaust, 2 heal setup for Phallic Justice on the blue side, which, hey, they've made it to the finals of this tournament, so it's been working for them so far. Why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And actually, I like the setup coming out for Pink Pickle Poppers in that they have 2 ignites, 2 exhausts, and a heal. I probably would have liked to see them swap out one of those exhausts for another heal, I think, because I feel like they don't need the exhausts that much in this game because they're really against a bunch of tanks. The only person that you'd really want to exhaust would probably be Ashe if you were like in a duel, really, and then at that point, are you actually going to get to Ashe? Or are you just going to be dealing with their front line? So I feel like a bit too many exhausts for the side of Pink Pickle Poppers. I think they could have gone with more heals. Maybe one more heal, possibly. Or maybe like a Barret. Who knows? Anything. But I feel like too many exhausts, I feel. But they should be fairly even. It's kind of a dirt match for everybody. Like neither team has really that good of a comp. Neither team really has that much of a standout. The only real standout is the side of Phallic Justice in that they do have a heal in Taric and they have an 80 carry in Ashe. So if I were to give the advantage to anybody, I guess it would be Phallic Justice on the blue side. But we'll see who kind of pulls out ahead in the early game here, because I was wrong before about who would win the early game based on the team comps. So we'll see who's more aggressive here in the early game and takes control of the lane, because there only is one lane this early. But while we're in the loading screen, I'd like to mention once again that we are the Random Championship Series. You can visit us on our website, randomcs.com. Check out the About the RCS tab to see all of our staff members and all of our social media, things like that, if you want to get into contact with us. You can also click the Upcoming Events tab to see all of our upcoming tournaments and giveaways and wonderful things like that to make sure you are not missing anything that you might be eligible for. All of our tournaments are free and have RP giveaways, and or not RP giveaways, but I guess RP prizes, rather. So thank you, Riot, for that wonderful RP to give away to everybody. But like I said, everything's free to enter, so just head over to our website, randomcs.com, and make sure you're checking it out, and don't miss out on any cool opportunities to win yourself some RP and play in some awesome tournaments. Our Facebook is ari.cs, Ari like the champion, so facebook.com/ari.cs. Our Twitter is @esportsrcs, and so it's twitter.com/esportsrcs. And you can go to our new link to find our Twitch, which is randomcs.com/live. So that's randomcs.com/live. It will take you right to our Twitch page, which is twitch.tv/randomchampionshipseries, but that's kind of long to type. So just type in randomcs.com/live and you will be good to go. It'll take you right to our Twitch page, and you can watch all of our wonderful streamed events, which we stream all of our tournaments, so you guys can watch yourselves and watch your friends and watch people play in these wonderful events and things like that we have. Alright, jumping into our grand finals right now. On the blue side we have Phallic Justice V2, and on the purple side we have Pink Pickle Poppers. And Food Breakers dashing onto the map as early as possible here. It looks like Dr. Sack and Kageno are waiting for their team to try and invade the bush, but Food Breaker is just jumping right in and taking control, which is exactly what I want to see, is just rush that bush, know what you're going to buy beforehand, and just get into that bush as soon as possible. And two big guys in the front line there. We've got a Malphite and a Garen camping the bush there. And Pink Pickle Poppers are wise in that they're just going to hang back right now, knowing they didn't get an early enough start to try and contest the bush, so just stay back and wait until your minions take the field before you try and do anything. If you're behind, like if you don't get out there immediately, then don't bother trying to contest it. Just cut your losses and stay in the back. One of the things you can do as well, though, is like throw a Morgana shield or pool or something like that at them. But I don't think Alistair's here, actually. Alistair might never have connected, or possibly he's AFK or DC'd or something like that, but unfortunately for him, there he is. And he actually got a Phage, so that's what they're doing. They might have an AD Alistair, like Trinity Force Alistair, building him like the old school top lane Alistair. And that's what I was mentioning before, is have Morgana throw in a blind binding into the bush to make sure that the enemy team can't engage on top of that. It is a super skinny bush, so you can't really dodge it if someone's throwing a blind thing in there and you're trying to stay in the bush and not give up your positioning. But Alistair popping an early heal there, actually, so it's going to be interesting if Alistair's going to be using a lot of heals. Oh, I forgot to mention that, I guess. I was talking so much about how Taric has a heal, but Alistair has a heal as well. So if you're going kind of like Trinity Force Static Shiv Alistair, like the old school top lane, then you're not really going to have that much mana to heal people with, other than, of course, the mana you get from the Sheen going into the Trinity Force, the flat mana. So it'll be interesting to see how the mana of Benbai is going to be managed for this game. But so far, Phallic Justice have taken control over the lane early, based on that early lane bush control. But this is going off early. Small Frappuccino jumping in on Leona. Foodbreaker just spinning around. This is actual mayhem right now. Nick 2443115 on Shen there with his energy going down, but they're all going to back off and just trade health and back out safely. They really only trade a few summoner spells. It was quite chaotic, but everybody wanting to stay safe, and the heal on the entire team from Alistair is going to pay dividends. Of course, a single target heal there from Taric, but dashing in there is Nick. Small Frappuccino in the back line, stunning Shaco Elo, which is what he needs to do. He needs to lock down that Ashe. He gets exhausted himself. Uncle Paul might go down. He dashes away in the back line. Getting the heal on is Nick, barely staying alive with that shield from himself. Oh no, Benbai might go down. He does. It's going to be a first blood there for Ashe, but oh no, Nick goes down as well. Dr. Sack trying to run away. He's slow from Shaco Elo. Foodbreaker is going to go down in the pool. No, he just barely flashes away in time, stays alive. He has no health left, and that will be an actual 2 for... Oh no, sorry, I was going to say, yeah, it should be a 2-for-0 trade, as Shen just respawned right now as the death timers are so low. So 2-for-0 trade. No, sorry, 2-for-1, excuse me, because Alistair did die. So sorry, 2-for-1 trade there, as those were the first kills of the game. And it looks like it's a little bit back in control there for Pink Pickle Poppers, as they did win that fight there. As mentioned, 2-for-1, but just barely, as it's been quite chaotic early. We saw before, both teams don't really have that much of a backline, so all these fights are just a cluster of people jumping in the middle. The only real backline for either team is Ashe for the blue side, Phallic Justice, and then Morgana for the purple side, Pink Pickle Poppers. That's their only real backline, so everybody else is just jumping up in the middle, and it is crazy chaotic. And especially when they hit level 6, it is going to be an absolute mess, because Malphite is going to ult on top of 5 people, Ashe is going to ult on top of 5 people, Morgana is going to pop her ultimate, Alistair's going to be unkillable, and Mordekaiser is going to be doing AoE damage to everybody in a line, so we'll see who's able to come out ahead on that giant cluster that is sure to come when everybody hits level 6 here, because the fights so far have been absolute mayhem, everyone just stacking on top of each other and clicking around. Malphite trading a bit early. And actually the triple Doran shield there for Garen, I didn't even look at that before, but I'm pretty sure... Yeah, I don't like that, because the thing is all you're getting is 80 health and 6 health every 5 seconds. The unique passive is unique, it doesn't stack there. So you're only getting one use of the Doran shield, so it's not the same as a Doran's Blade, where the lifesteal passive, or whatever, it's not even a passive really, the lifesteal it stacks. You get 9% lifesteal when you have 3 Doran's Blade, but 3 Doran's Shield is really not worth it. You should have gotten a Doran's Shield and then like boots and a Ruby Crystal or something like that, something else, instead of stacking those 3 Doran's Shields. It's not the same as the Doran's Rings or the Doran's Blade. You do not want to stack the shield. And as I mentioned every game before, Morgana is actually going for the Rod of Ages build, so more of an investment build, which it seems like this game is probably going to be a elongated game, as they don't really have much. Whoa, unless something crazy like that happens, actually a headbutt away, Benbai botching his combo and actually kicking Ashe to safety a bit. or headbutting her, I guess you could say, because that's the actual spell. Headbutting her to safety. Excuse me, trying to WQ his combo right there, which is quite hard to do on Alistar. Well, not quite hard to do, but it takes a bit of practice to get used to. And as someone who does not play Alistar, I consider it hard, as I cannot do it consistently whatsoever. And make myself look like an idiot when I try, so I usually don't try to. As we saw from Ben Bai right there, you kind of I would rather not do a fancy play and make a bad play, but Kageno actually flashes forward for his Morgana ultimate, blows down before it goes off, and it's really going to only go off on one person anyways. There's the Ashe ult on top of that, and this might be a massacre of Phallic Justice. They're turning this teamfight so well. Morgana unfortunately flashed forward, and that's what I was going to say before, is that I was looking for a play like that, because everybody's so close together, but Kageno flashed forward, his ultimate was only tethered to one person, and he got blown up by the Malphite ultimate before he was able to get his ultimate off, actually. There's the engage from Small Peppercino, but Son of POB is tanking the turret right now. They don't have enough damage to kill any of these turrets, so they're just going to be teamfight after teamfight. This game's going to be quite entertaining, because they have no damage to actually take objectives, but they're just teamfighting left and right. Ashe there needs to be careful, she doesn't get snared. Just walking away. Very cocky there from Shaco Elo, but he knows he's got the boots to keep himself safe. Trying to CS from the front line. We'll see if Foodbreaker and Nick2443115 decide to jump in from the bush. Son of POB sitting there as well. Might try and jump on Uncle Paul, but Dr. Sack out of position a little bit as well. He does have a full shield from his passive. That'll slowly wear down over time as he's not attacking things with abilities. And when he does, they might start getting this engage on. We'll see what they decide to do. Ashe's ultimate is not back up. It's got about a quarter of the time left, as well as Tarek's ultimate too. We'll see if they decide to jump on them, because the ultimates should be back up a little bit sooner, I believe, for Pink Pickle Poppers. Maybe because they started this fight with them, maybe a few seconds earlier. As we see Ashe is almost complete and Morgana's following suit. Leona is just active, and actually Alistar popped his just a little bit ago, his ultimate, so he's not going to have that for the upcoming fight. So he's going to be really pretty in danger, as Alistar needs to get right into the thick of things to make stuff happen. Malphite's ultimate is really the main one that they need to wait for before they make anything happen, because that ultimate is quite game-changing, especially when you can trail the Ashe arrow on top of it. And we'll see if they can make it happen again. I really liked how they saved it and kind of did a counter-engage. Once there was the over-aggression from Pink Pickle Poppers, they popped their ults in a counter-attack against them. Instead of trying to initiate with that, they might try and turn it on here now. Jarhead going down to about half HP, but he gets the heals from Tarek. And I think Tarek might be maxing his heal, because that did a lot. Yeah, Tarek is maxing his heal, which is what I like to see. Normally you don't really want to max that heal, because it's not that effective on Summoner's Rift. But in a situation like this, hell yeah, max that heal out and keep your team alive. As we saw right there, Jarhead was at half HP, and now he's back up to pretty much full, which is exactly what you need. You can't ultimate in as Malphite with half HP, because you're going to ult in and die immediately. You need to stay alive for your team. Garen doing a bit of trolling right there. Trying to bait his enemies in, saying, come get me, because they want that counter engage again. We'll see if they do that. It's a bit of a poke stun coming from Tarek, which is not what you want to see. You want to see that E stun followed up upon. So you want to stun them when they're closer to your team, trying to stun them when they're too far away like that, or else it's just basically a poke stun, and that's useless on Tarek. But they should be able to try and make something happen here now that everybody's ultimate is back up. Alistar's ultimate will be back up in a few seconds here. They're trying to bait this in. It's the equivalent of a fighter like talking trash, trying to bait his opponent so he can counter him. They seem to be counter fighters right now. There's the over-aggressive engage though, but Jarhead pops them up. There's the Asher on top. They walk forward into the Asher. Actually, Uncle Paul's gonna go down. Jarhead trying to run away. He flashes away from the Morgold, but Nick gets caught up in it. We'll see if he has enough HP to survive. He has the Ignite burning on top of him. There's the knock-up from Alistar against 4 people, and Foodbreaker and Jarhead are super low. So Son of POB. Ashe trying to fight them in the back line, but she needs to be really careful. If Alistar can knock these guys up, they might go down. You know, he has to decide to back off because he is not tanky enough to stay alive. He did have his ultimate back up for that fight. There's this stun onto Morgana. Let's see if they can make this happen. No, this snare onto Son of POB, and he is going to go down. Dr. Sack picking up the kill, and actually they turn what looked like somebody getting caught out into a bait. There's the flash from Mordekaiser. Oh my goodness, and there is the flash headbutt from Alistar, but he just barely goes down the block from Jarhead. Jarhead sacrifices himself for his Ashe. Foodbreaker, barely enough health to stay alive. Ashe uses the volley to slow down. Foodbreaker needs to be careful though right now. He needs to wait for his team to survive and hold this turret before he kills himself right here. But Malphite going for the Rod of Ages as well, and it is going to be completed before Morgana's, as she has died, and it's yet to die rather. Or no, it's died once, excuse me, but didn't have enough to fully complete the Rod of Ages, where Malphite did on his first back, plus a blasting one. So he's going to be going AP Malphite, and just have Garen and Shen be the tanks for their team as well. I guess you could add Taric to that as well. And that's another thing I was talking about before, where these side of Pink Pickle Poppers, they have a fairly AP-heavy team. So I was like, okay, well, what are they going to do to counteract that? And they have Mordekaiser going partially AD as well as Alistar, but they're getting jumped on. Morgana blown up immediately, so is Leona. Two girls going down here, and it's just the weird monster men left to try and hold this turret. But they have a Glacial Malphite right in the front there, looking all shiny with his armor, and he has his ultimate not yet ready to use. There's the ultimate from Ashe, though. They're going straight on Dr. Sack. The taunt coming from Nick, the knock up from Alistar, actually knocking him back into the woods right there. Oh, he's gonna get exhausted and tank both turrets as he tries to run over to the relic. That was probably not the best idea, to be honest. Probably should have just walked back from the bush there. You could have just walked through the enemies. They don't have enough damage there, but Alistar does have his Trinity Force, and he's doing a decent amount of damage. When you're tanking two turrets at the same time, you're probably gonna go down there as well, as you see the corpse way too far away from where he needs to be. Nick 9 in the back line for a relic that didn't really do anything in the end, but good play by Alistar to get him behind the enemy turret. And Taric actually opting to pick up the what's it called there, the Sunfire Cape. Now Taric does heal for more based on his actual HP, but I would have liked to see possibly something more magic resisty, because really the only AD damage is coming out from Alistar, and it's really not that much AD, to be honest. I really think they should be sticking with mostly MR right now. So I would have liked to see possibly a Spirit Visage from Taric. I think that would have been really good, because of course it'll work with the healing and things like that. But Morgana going to be doing a fair amount of damage with that Rod of Age. This is just snare and pool. Nice little snare pool combo on a Food Breaker, but Taric should be able to heal him up here in just a few seconds. Get Food Breaker back up to HP, and there it is. You see the first one coming into play. Morgana trying to get a pick for her team, but nothing happening as of yet. And a double Random's Omen coming out, one for Skarner, one for Leona, so they will be very strong against this Ashe, as well as, of course, any damage coming out from Garen. But really, it's going to be the Malphite that has to do damage if Ashe cannot cut through those Random's Omen. She's going to have to try and pick up a Last Whisper or something to cut through that armor in the near future, or else it's going to be straight up to Malphite to try and make something happen with that extra damage he's getting from his AP build. But yeah, like I was saying, nobody has taken a turret yet, because both these teams are just giant team-fighting monsters, and none of them really have actual objective-pushing power. The only one in the game that's really actually good at taking turrets is Ashe, and she's still not one of the best AD carries at taking turrets. She's alright at it, but she's really just going to be standing in the back line mostly for these team fights and not getting a chance to get down these objectives until later in the game when the death timers are longer, and they can win a team fight and then just slowly push in the objectives after the other team is dead. But right now, at 13 minutes, the death timers are way too short to actually have anything substantial really happen after a team fight is won or lost. So the first item being completed by pretty much everybody in the game except for Garen so far, who has yet to die, which is quite surprising considering Garen is someone that needs to jump right into the front line to make stuff happen. But he's been getting heals consistently coming from Taric. That's what we mentioned before, having someone on your team that can heal is very nice. Small Frappuccino jumping in there, Leona goes in, and so does Ben Bai, getting the triple, pulverized up. And that is going to be a kill from Malphite in the backline. He uses a point-blank ultimate, the exhaust coming in, the Shen ultimate onto Shaco Elo. They're going to try and turn this around. Shen in the backline, Small Frappuccino gets the pull. Oh my goodness, Uncle Paul actually ults onto Shaco Elo, but he might go down for his troubles. 4-man pulverized by Ben Bai, but he's probably going to go down on the way back. He does still have his ultimate, actually. I decided not to pop it. He had exhaust and ultimate and didn't use either of them. I think he just realized the teamfight was lost and wanted to save them, but his ultimate does have a short cooldown, so I'm not sure why they just decided to give that up. Small Frappuccino barely any HP left, but Dr. Sack trying to get some poke damage in. He needs to be careful. He doesn't get taunted and jumped on by the side of Phallic Justice. The first turret of the game going over to the blue side, and that will be nice to kind of clear this map open a little bit, have a little bit more space for these team fights. It was a very condensed, small spot on the map where they were being forced to fight between the first two tier turrets. Zenith Blade barely missing Shaco Elo. Small Frappuccino is going to be forced to go back and wait for his cooldowns before he tries something again. But he's super low HP, so it's going to be really dangerous for them to try and make a play here. Snare just missing there from Morgana, and I was going to say, back off there, let Leona grab that. It's nice to see coordination in ARAM, because usually, of course, ARAMs are usually like solo queue, and people kind of just pick up whatever and screw each other over, and are like, no, I want the HP and mana, but in that situation, you got to give it to your tank. Everybody else had pretty close to full HP and mana, so give it to the low person. so they can try and make something happen here. At least get an ultimate off or something, some sort of a stun, some sort of CC, and help out in some fashion before immediately getting blown up. Even after the relic, or the heal from the relic there, she's still at super low HP. And more poke trading coming out from Jarhead, who has ridiculous damage coming from his Q with the Abyssal Scepter and the Rod of Ages. Now there's the ultimate, and that is going to be a one and done. Jarhead picking up the kill, and he woes back. Oh, great disengage ultimate from Ashe. The triple knock up there, as well as the stun, and they're going to go down Uncle Paul. Double kill for Garen. He dashes, Shen dashes away. Son of POV actually tanking right now with Garen in the front line. Shaco Elo is not getting damage on him as he's standing behind his two tanks, and there's a a 5-man knockup, a penta knockup, but Alistair is getting these ridiculous every-man knockup, like he's knocking up the entire team, but of course it's not doing any damage, and the rest of his team is dead by the time this happens. And this game is really starting to tip in the scales of phallic justice. They're killing this turret so freaking slow, though. Jarhead, oh, Dr. Sack does get the kill there, making sure there's no execute, burns the flash for it, but it's probably going to be worth. Small Frappuccino, there's the first kill, double kill for Dr. Sack. First kill onto Garen, and he's finally going to be able to buy and get rid of those damn Doran shields. He's sitting on 3 right now, and I think he's like a kid in a candy store because he hasn't bought anything yet. He's sitting on how much gold right there. There's the Brutalizer, sitting on a ridiculous amount of gold. 4.9k after buying a Brutalizer, so he's sitting on like 5.5k. He doesn't even know what to buy at this moment. He's still deciding. This is just hilarious to me. He's got the Black Cleaver. He outbuys the Sunfire. How much does he have left? How much does he have left over at that point? Okay, and then he picks up Boots. So he's got 3 shields, Sunfire Cape, Black Cleaver, and Boots. So not a bad first buy for Garen when you get 2 items plus Boots. But Shaco Elo might go down. There's the ultimate from Skarner, and they just train damage on top. Small Frappuccino picking up the kill there. Support grabbed himself pretty penny. Small Frappuccino might try and push this in with the rest of his team. Foodbreaker getting pushed back a little bit by that Sanguine Pool. Or sorry, I think the Sanguine Pool is actually a Vladimir spell. What the heck is Morgana's pool called? Is it Sanguine Pool? Am I crazy? Tormented Soil, that's what it's called there. Sanguine Pool is, I believe, Vladimir's little pool. He's got set up for himself. So we're going to torment that soil even though we're on a kind of a stone bridge. Whatever. Torment that soil. I'm sure there's dirt somewhere below. But doing a good job of pushing back that wave. When you have an AP Morgana, you can push waves super fast with that Tormented Soil. And the QW combo, when you snare someone in that Tormented Soil, it does a great amount of trade damage. As we see right there, nice little snare onto Shen. He pops the shield on himself to keep himself alive. A bit of poke coming out from Jarhead, actually. We'll see if they try and engage on this. They don't have a turret to run back to. It's an open inhibitor. There's the Ashe ultimate right onto Mordekaiser. He's going to get blown up immediately. Leona ultimate goes down onto 4 people or so, but it's only a slow. Shen actually getting an ultimate onto Ashe in the back line. He's cutting away from her team. She needs to just run through them and into the back line there. Barely missing the Morg bind. Oh my god, I thought that was going to hit. Because of the dodge, Shaco Elo is alive. Great Shen ultimate to keep her team alive. And this will be a cleanup for phallic justice. Nobody dies. Shaco Elo was able to survive because of the lack of damage coming out from Pink Pickle Poppers. Really smart play by phallic justice. They ulted one of the only real damage dealers on the side of Pink Pickle Poppers. Ashe ults Mordekaiser, and they all just blow up Mordekaiser immediately, and he is really the main threat for the side of Pink Pickle Poppers. Everybody else in their team doesn't do that much damage. The only one really bringing out damage as well is Morgana, and she just has the Rod of Ages and is trying to get herself a Zonius, but right now it's really just half and half. It's half AP and half defensive items for herself, which is not the damage you need. Like I said, the only one there's nobody on the side of Pink Pickle Poppers that's actually going full damage. Everybody has some form of tankiness or sustain in their build. So when you blow up the main damage dealer in Dr. Sack, kill him before the fight starts, there's no damage to kill the Ashe. They didn't even have anybody peeling for their back line. Shaco Elo was kiting 1v4, which in any other team comp, a team with any sort of damage, they would have blown him up in that situation. Shen gets the ult off, and they can't burn through the Shen shield. Not even close. Everybody saves Shaco Elo, they turn around on them, and that's an easy team fight win for phallic justice based on that initial Ashe arrow right there. That was a little bit more of a sloppy one. They're going to try and engage on this. Headbutt back, defensive pulverize. They're still right just away from the turret. First turret shot comes in, Foodbreaker tanking as Uncle Paul gets the ultimate onto Shaco Elo, but he's just alive right now. Shaco Elo, with the Trinity Force, has a little bit of tankiness to keep himself alive, but there's Dr. Sack getting the kill. Bit of misposition coming from Shaco Elo, and this could be dangerous. There's a 5-man ultimate from Malphite, but this could be easily turned by Pink Pickle Poppers. Foodbreaker in the back line, gonna go down. Jarhead trying to make as much happen in this time as he can. Still really quite tanky, to be honest, even though he does have a ton of AP going for him, and they might try and turn this if they can run away in time and possibly get a play. There's the nice little Q coming out from Malphite to gain some speed, steal some speed, I guess. from Skarner. And there's the Zenith Blade in. Bad play by Small Frappuccino. Going to be turned on. That's really unfortunate. Small Frappuccino over-aggressing, not in communication with his team, and that is going to be a free kill for Phallic Justice. They've got 5 seconds on Gary getting back on the map. Ash is chilling at base right now. Once they group up again, they've got super minions now, and they should be able to try and make a final push on this game, get a team fight, and then take down some Nexus turrets here. And the side of Pink Pickle Poppers is content to just wait for Leona to be back up, and then try and make a play. They're just going to clear waves right now. And the nice thing for them is there's nothing on the map they can take. If this was Summoner's Rift, they'd be like, oh no, well, we could lose Baron, we could lose Dragon, they could steal our jungle, things like that. But really, Phallic Justice can't take anything. The only objectives they want are through the wall that Pink Pickle Poppers is setting up with their team right now. So they need to just play passive and just kind of wait and play within their own base. I kind of want Pink Pickle Poppers to use the turrets to their advantage and just wait in the back. Nice flash there from Mordekaiser, but a flash for an Ash Arrow is not a good cooldown trade when you're Pink Pickle Poppers. The flash is way longer than that Ash Arrow. And Ash should be having that arrow up quick enough to try and end the next team fight here. But this is what I was saying before, is that Pink Pickle Poppers should just kind of wait in their own base, just clear waves and just stall as long as possible. And when you do actually team fight, either try and grab a pick and jump on that, or use your turrets preferably in the team fight. You've got 2 turrets on top. Like, this is what I don't want to see. They are on Shaco Elo. If they can get the jump on Shaco Elo, this might be nice, but I would like to see them fight under the turret. They got super minions attacking them as well. In the back line is Foodbreaker. There's the ultimate on Son of POV, actually. Uncle Paul in the back line. Shen ultimate onto Shaco Elo, and he is going to go down in the back line. Jarhead jumping in the back with his ultimate. Dr. Sack has to use his Zonias, but he should go down. There's a bit of health stolen back, but he might go down. The shields are trying to protect him, but no, they will stay alive. Shaco Elo getting chased by Alistar as well as Morgana. She is going to get the kill. No, Ben Bai will get the kill, excuse me. Small Frappuccino goes down, and Kageno is going to go down as well. Morgana dying after picking up the kill. Alistar, once again, last person alive, and he is just going to stand still and wait for the death. And this is what I was so afraid of from Pink Pickle Poppers, is fight with your 2 turrets that you have. You've got a position where you can fight underneath 2 turrets. Instead, they decide to fight in open field, and they were fighting not only 5v5 against a team that has more items than they